from world champion Magnus Carlsen with Chessable's interactive move trainer at chessable.com/Magnus.
Hello everybody and welcome to another day of the FIDEchess.com online Nations Cup, where today we will learn who the finalists shall be. I have not been as excited since The Bachelor Season 7, and I am particularly thrilled to not have to learn who will enter the finals other than China all by myself, but to be here in the presence of greatness, the 8-time Russian chess champion, the man with the, what color is that? Violet Lacoste shirt is with us. Peter Svidler, how are you today?
I'm okay. I'm sorry for the horrible spectacle of me finishing off some food, but my family basically uses me as some kind of a disposal unit. Whenever there's food left, they just immediately assume I can be on hand to finish it off at a very, very short notice.
Sorry, just telling the chat to drink, because sorry was your third word.
Yeah, today I actually opened all the chats in one window, so I'm planning to be on top of things, and dodgy with the on point message. Do some chess.
Stick to chess.
Some chess definitely shall be done, dodgy.
What do we have today? We have. Is this here?
Is Anish playing? The big question. The pressing question of the day. Has Anish been selected for the decisive match between EU and NA?
You know, I have this new thing, which I think in the business people call WhatsApp for desktop, and it makes very strange sounds. And I do not know how to get rid of these sounds. So I can either close the WhatsApp for desktop, but then I might lose my precious WhatsApp messages, or we have to live with the sounds. And now some computer
Anish
people
has
will
been
tell me,
selected.
actually, you can switch it off. No. Anish is playing?
Yes.
Give me 1 minute.
Let me try and find you how to mute the sounds. There's something called settings. You will be pleased to know it's located in the sort of top left. There are 3 dots next to the plus button at the top left of your screen in WhatsApp. Have you been listening to me at all? Whoa, very orange.
This is a very unbiased, impartial broadcast. We are rooting for everybody equally.
Maybe.
But since our boy is playing, I just, had this thing lying around. I thought I haven't worn it for a while.
Clearly, and I was telling you how to switch the sounds off, but you were gone, which I noticed midway through.
I didn't hear it. Maybe I had already mastered. So who else is playing?
Oh, okay. The tech support with Peter will then.
No, tell me, how do I switch the sounds off?
There's the 3 dots next to the plus button in the upper left corner of your WhatsApp for desktop.
Oh. But now I closed it down already. Hang on, I'll switch it on.
Then.
That might make a sound.
Anyway, and while you click on that, click settings, click notifications, and disable sounds, we will proceed to discuss the lineups.
I got the
lineups-
three dots, settings, chat background.
Notifications.
Is it chat background?
No, it is, I think, called notifications.
In German, Benachrichtigungen.
Probably. It's the top menu for me, right?
Tune?
below.
Sorry, I'm trolling. Thanks. That was actually useful information.
Anyway, lineups. Hikaru is playing MVL. Fabi is playing Levon. Wesley is playing Anish, and on board for Irina Crush is playing against Nana Zagnidze. We should generally we've been declaring this intention, I think, for every round since maybe round 6 and haven't achieved it once, but we
stick
should
to
really
chess?
be
Yeah, let's
no,
do it
I mean
today.
stick to one match, because really this is the one. This is the match which could have the decisive bearing on who gets to play China tomorrow. If the US wins the tournament, the round
over.
robin part of it is effectively over. The other results still leave something in play, but it is a very, very important match.
Also, Anish is playing. As we've
Yes.
mentioned, we consider this show America's broadcast. Therefore, there are 2 hearts beating in my chest, which is 2 more than normal. So we have to root for the USA and for Anish simultaneously. Is that even doable?
That will be difficult, but not impossible, I assume. Nothing is impossible.
We should mention the Europe team is being coached by none other than Garry Kasparov. And I heard there are some intense Zoom calls before and after the matches. And it's a bold strategy to put Anish back in, because he has not had a great event thus far. He has half a point out of 3, losing to Bassem and to Yu Yang Yi and drawing Wesley. So therefore, it's a big matchup today.
He gets to play Wesley again, which is, the one game he seems to have mastered in this tournament. So
Maybe that's why, yeah. Maybe they thought, okay, so Giri should be a draw. Let's put Anish with the black pieces. He's more solid than Jan Krzysztof Duda, who would have been the alternative. And then Levon with the white pieces against Fabiano Caruana. Both of those guys have been goal-getters in this event thus far. Fabi has,
Absolutely.
5 out of 6? Levon is 4 out of 6. And on board 1, both guys have done well as well, no? Hikaru, I think, has +2, and Maxime +1. I can actually look it up instead of guessing. But yeah, that's correct. 5 out of 8, and 4.5 out of 8 for Maxime.
yeah, both the US and the EU team have been doing quite well, just not well enough to be anywhere near catching distance of the Chinese powerhouse, where Yu Yang has been just laying waste to everything in his path, and also they sort of expectedly the Chinese pair of Hui Fan and Zhu Wenjun have outscored the opposition by a very, very large margin.
Yeah, they've done well, and they are saying, you know what? We're resting our boy Ding Liren for the finals. See you tomorrow.
He might play in round 10, but maybe not. Yeah.
Late. He gets the day off. Why wouldn't he? Then we have rest of the world versus Russia, but we'll ignore it.
Clearly. And apparently we have liftoff as we should, so we should start getting moves soon.
Yeah, but so far it's moves. In one of the matches we ignore. The moves, they are creeping in slowly here. But we'll get there. And all eyes will be on USA versus Europe. Who are you rooting for?
I think, as Doji correctly pointed out, maybe we shouldn't overhype one match. in round 9, because there are definitely conditions under which we will then have nothing to do in round 10. I think a Europe win or a draw would give us a much more interesting round 10. So maybe Anish wins and somebody on the US team wins, and it's a 2-2. And then we get to see the US play China, and the Europeans play, I think, rest of the world and try to outscore the US in that match by such a heavy margin that they sneak in on tie breaks.
Okay. I'm hoping for a 2.5 US victory with an Anish Giri black win on board 3.
Yeah.
The likely result.
Good luck. Good luck with that, yes.
In the meantime, we have some games showing up here. Kayak in Firuja is actually not a bad game. Ali Reza, he's doing all these Caro-Kanns all the time.
Yeah, he's been spamming some Caro-Kanns in this event, and will be interesting to see what happens here, because I think knight bg2 is not really the prescribed way to play this. There used to be I remember this very distinctly, because I played this against Viktor Laznichka in, I think, my last ever Olympiad. I played knight bg2 and kind of lost after c5, dc, knight c6, knight b3, knight d7. And only after I got to a position which I actually had on file and remembered it as not being very good for white, had I realized that the file that the Russian national team coaches spent an entire night compiling for me starts with six castles. They were not very happy. They couldn't quite understand why I wouldn't just, be able to repeat the move orders that were given to me as far ahead as move 6, which normally...
In your defense, castle in this position is a weird move.
Yeah, true story, all of it.
And I will now start ignoring everything else, because not only is this board won in the Europe-USA match, Hikaru Nakamura, of course, representing the USA, and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave from France for Europe, but they have the king of openings, the Exchange Slav, which has
Very much
featured
so.
in quite some Hikaru games recently. And if there's one opening I know, it's the Exchange Slav. Queen b3 is the move of Hikaru's choice. Of course, knight f3 is a legal move here as well. Knight a5, this is the line he's been debating. It seems the recent trend is to no longer go bishop e7 here, but to play bishop b4 or rook c8 followed by bishop b4. Which, yeah, we've seen in the Anish game, and MVL, who pretty much every day I criticize his prep, and why not do so today as well. He is going for the old line, knight f3, knight h5, which they used to play, but computers prefer starting with rook to c8 here. New computers, so I'm somewhat surprised MVL likes this line, which is also a main line, but after bishop e5, f6, both bishop f4 and bishop g3, things weren't that simple here. There were also some alternatives to bishop e5, so I'm a bit curious about what's going on here, but MVL is saying, you know what, I'll play f5, stonewall. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, very much so. On board 2, in that match, there's a position which I feel like maybe I even played.
I have a feeling you're not sharing my excitement.
No, I tried debating something in the exchange. Well, not debating, but like I tried adding my 2 cents in the discussion on the exchange Slav the previous time this happened, and got all the move orders instantly wrong. So I'm just sitting this one out. You know so much better than me. Then it's very comfortable for me to just let you drive.
All right.
Up to knight g5, bishop d8. Honestly, I have a feeling I've had this. This systems with white going for knight c3, knight e2, knight g3, and black playing queen d7, knight d8, knight e6. They first started appearing, I think, maybe late 90s towards like the mid 2000s. Yeah, and I have a feeling I had this position against Shirov, or a position extremely like it, at least once. I used to think it has to be very good for white. This setup is knight f4, knight f5, knight g5 looks quite promising, but I suspect against a well-prepared, qualified opponent of, and Fabi definitely answers to that call. This is not all that sensational.
I've seen this before as well, but the funny thing here is who is playing what with what color. Levan Aronian used to be a lifelong d4, c4, knight f3 player until he started adding a lot of 1e4 around 2018 for the candidates tournament. And Fabiano Caruana he can play every opening, but he's not known as a martial specialist, while his opponent Levan Aronian is arguably the biggest martial specialist of our times. So if I was shown this position and asked who's white, who's black in a Caruana-Aronian game, I would not really have bet that.
Yeah. I mean, until 2020, I think the answer would have been very, very clear. Maybe the late 2019, but yeah, anytime this happens, you still kind of it raises an eyebrow or two when you see Levon on the white side of these types of positions. And he has made some progress. I don't remember Bishop d8 being met by a 4, but looking at it right now, it feels very logical just opening the F file without trading on e6, which kills off your own bishop on b3 in many positions. So
I'm also rusty on the details. Was Bishop d8 the move you're supposed to play here? Like, Fabi knows, surely. But
yeah, I think sometimes they just ignore it and play something like c5. But I have a feeling in the games I was referring to, maybe the pawn was already on c3, which I think makes c5 into a much better proposition, because sometimes there might be a threat of c4 and so on.
So f4 has been played.
Yeah, takes h6. h6 just Fabi just played h6, and h6 is a brave move, because if something goes wrong for you here, you might just get destroyed on the king side. But those knights need to be driven away. You can't tolerate them for very long.
f3, I guess you go c5 and hope nothing too bad happens.
I guess, yes,
c5. Maybe this one day, maybe this.
But even this position is like queen e2, queen e1, g3 or something. It looks like things could go quite poorly for black if tactics don't work out. But also I wanted to say that like my initial feeling after seeing this position after h6 is, can I find a way not to go back? Can I find a way here to actually continue going for h4? Is a bit, I mean, black probably doesn't take after h4. It's just such an ugly move to make.
Yeah. No, you can't take, I guess, here.
Yeah, g6
more than dangerous.
Yeah. I don't think black takes, but it's just not what I want to do. Like knight f7 and then something was my initial idea, and then something unfortunately is not concrete enough. I can't find anything that looks particularly forcing here. And yeah, g5 or c5, c4, black will eventually start unpinning. And of course, the idea is not to just take on f7 and play a position.
All right, let's get to the game of the games.
Yeah.
Top of the tops. Federer, Nadal.
And this is quite surprising, because I thought you were not supposed to get that endgame anymore. But maybe Wesley's entire point is that nobody really remembers how to equalize there.
Oh, I remembers.
Yeah, quite likely. And for me, it's a kind of a very bittersweet position, because I remember investing a lot of time fine-tuning all these things before the London candidates. And then Vladi played 14 king c2 against me, which of course I had written down. And I couldn't remember the first thing about it, and lost horribly.
You said the other day that in these lines it makes sense to just exchange queens and know how to equalize, right?
But I don't think you're getting this position anymore. I think people have shifted to going bishop b3, c5, knight f3, specifically to have other captures on d2. I thought you're not supposed to get this so comfortably anymore.
All right. So here we are. Knight f3, knight 6, d5, rook d8. All of this stuff. Well known. King e1. Even this.
King e1 is absolutely the absolute main line of this position. But king c2 does exist, and you need to be very precise in reply to it, which I wasn't. And Vladimir won yet another positional masterpiece against me, as he is very prone to do. Yeah, this is kind of
Here,
annoying because
in the
I
old
think
days
it's
they
bishop
played this.
d7 and then we go like bishop d3, rook
Follow these
d8, king
lines.
e2, e6 or
Five
a
exists
5.
somewhere. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I gave in the videos and kind of failing. I think it's f5, but really not 100% sure at all.
I'm reading a lot of love for my orange polo shirt. Thank you so much. This is the rooting for Anish Giri shirt. Oh, you can't see it.
What does it say on the back?
Team NL.
Oh, okay.
But I am also rooting for the USA. So maybe at halftime I'll switch back into my whatever it was, Ralph Lauren shirt, which seemed very, very US made. Or probably it's not US made, but it's a US company. Anish, are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm actually curious because it's a little bit annoying not to be able to remember anything in your main opening. Let me just briefly check. I do feel like we have to actually use the advantages afforded us by the fact that we're doing this from the privacy of our own home. And
That we have
Fabi?
access to computers.
Yeah, exactly.
On
And
board
Fabi
four.
continuing with the slight trolling there, going for knight h3, king h8 with the intention, I'm actually pretty sure, of going knight g8 next move, which is sort of trademark Levon Aronian.
Yeah, this is the one maneuver everyone associates with Levon. King h8, knight g8, usually to prepare f5, but he will play it in most positions.
No, you need to deal with the knight on f5, and going knight g8 prepares black to play g6 next move. So it does make definite strategic sense here. But you have
On the
to
women's
wonder,
board,
yeah.
Nana Zagnidze is facing Irina Krush. Krush had a fine tournament. I have to look up what her score is exactly. I would guess, 50%, 3 out of 6, which is very, very respectable since I think she started maybe with the lowest rating on these women's boards. And Zagnidze has 2 out of 3, has been sharing the board with Anna Musichuk. Gets an outing today. And of course, Team Europe will be looking towards her to put some pressure with the white pieces. Not gonna be easy. As for the line, here there are, I think, more direct ways to play than this queen c7, queen a5 that was played, but it's also a well-known maneuver to reshuffle the queen to the square in these positions. So how's your research going?
I can provide you with some early findings. After bishop d7, bishop d3, what I recommend in the videos is f5, e5, bishop e8 without rook dc8 even, which is maybe the most forcing line black has here. d6, and only now you go rook dc8. And I remember, once again, those are 2013-ish engines, so I suspect all of this would need to be, reappraised with modern technology. But I did spend hours and hours fine-tuning this and making sure all of this holds, and I was very convinced this does hold. And what Anish is doing is the old theory, which I think Kramnik was at some point playing seemingly in every second game. I think bishop g5 e3 is the main move in this position, right?
I'm not sure. I'm sure.
He's gone bishop d2.
Bishop d2. I was gonna say, don't you provoke b6? But this, there are a lot of Kramnik Van Veli games from like the early 2000s in these positions.
Yeah. I think bishop e3, eg, eg, b5 was also supposed to be some kind of a draw. But that came earlier. I remember the one time somebody asked me to write a theoretical article for a published magazine was I wrote an article for Schach, specifically on the bishop e3 Grunfeld. And at the time, this position after e6, bishop e3 was the absolute height of fashion. So I spent quite some time looking for ways to make make a comfortable draw here for black. Bishop d2, I don't remember that much. Bishop d2 is a bit surprising to me. I'm pretty sure that Vladi was playing bishop b3, and my default setting is, if there is a move that Kramnik made more than once in any kind of a position like this, that's the best move. But I guess maybe theory moved on a little bit once, since engines now are often reconsidering things which were gospel.
Yeah, bunch of Kramnik games. I'm also checking the database. In this position, bishop e3, the most common. Rook takes c8, also very common. But bishop d2 has been played 10 times. So
no, of course it's
I'm
not
assuming
a novelty,
it's what them engine boys want to see. And Anish goes bishop d2, e takes d5. Action.
Yeah, this exists. Yeah, I remember. This is a cute little tactic. And now after bishop b4, rook e8, you win this piece back.
This looks good for black, so probably we have to do better. I'm assuming just recapturing, yeah? Or what you do. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I think EG is logical, but then black could maybe even consider going rook e8 check and asking you if you want to play king f1, disrupting the connection between your two rooks, and generally, I think not improving your life. Or EG just b6. I mean, it's also probably playable, but I think rook e8 check would be a more forcing attempt to punish white for the quote-unquote inaccuracy.
Okay, shall we stop looking at only the Anish game? Nah.
It's very heartbreaking, but maybe we have to eventually.
Crash went for this structure, which... One of the three things I know about chess is that this is better for white if there are only knights left on the board. So I'm a bit surprised Crash went for this without much resistance, but especially putting the knight back to f6, because really white has all the plans. Her argument would probably be that the queen is hard to be shifted from b4, but long term there's such a big danger that you get this knight d5 takes, ed structure, e7 is weak, your king is weak. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, obviously, it very much depends on whether black can push for the b5 break instantly after that happens. But in general, I absolutely agree with you. It's one of the riskier setups you can go for when you're faced with this bishop b5, bishop d7, c4 structure. I also thought that there were
not messing around, just goes knight d5 directly.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a very, very good time for it, because with the queen on a5, you can't really play b5, because a takes b5 will attack the queen. And then if the queen gets moved anywhere, white, I think, almost instantly will play a4, a5 herself, making sure that the queen side structure cannot be challenged so easily.
Maybe you should go for queen c5, but it's sad, of course.
Yeah,
even takes an a5 is pretty sad.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a rook endgame which you probably don't lose with precise defense, but it's also something you will not enjoy.
Also starting with a5, yeah, it's not great fun. We'll see.
And none of this looks particularly like fun. And Fabi has gone d5, e5, knight h7. I'm really surprised by all of this. I'm pretty sure that if I had this position with white, I would think I'm close to winning, which I assume is not true, but like if you give me time to, let's say, play g4, c3, bishop c2, I really do think black more or less never survives this, just doesn't have enough defenders on the king side.
Fabi, don't forget what result we're going for today. We want a US victory with a Wesley loss, so you can't lose just mathematically, Fabi. No pressure.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
Also, I'm very curious, maybe we have some spies out there. Can someone let us know what type of shirt Fabi's wearing today? Please report back if he's wearing that hideous shirt that shall not be worn. And yes, I'm aware I'm saying this while I'm wearing a very orange polo shirt. So, d4 played by Aronian.
Yeah.
It just looks bad. Who are you kidding, Fabi? Look at this bishop.
Unless you can generate some kind of counterplay instantly, like maybe knight g5 takes, bishop takes, rook g4, I don't know, g6 followed by f5 or some such.
Take.
Yeah. Take. Yeah, does
Win.
work. Yeah, rook h4 and wins. Yeah. And Fabius has gone bishop g5. Now that makes slightly more sense.
Yeah.
Why are we not taking? I'd be like, if taking doesn't lose any material, I'd be very interested in taking on g5 here. I guess hg, but I don't know. Maybe knight g5 and f6. But all of those positions look very, very scary for black.
Yeah.
I would not want to be piloting the black pieces here.
Maybe Levon, the artist that he is also thinking about, you know, give that dude.
It is not unthinkable at all. Unfortunately, we can't take on the 4 with the knight, which makes it slightly weaker.
Yeah.
There's queen g3 in the current position, which could be quite strong, actually.
It's
Queen,
nice.
queen g3 I quite like.
6.
And yeah. Yeah, f6 is awkward. We might be one tempo short from being in complete control here, because if I could play bishop b3 c2 here, I would not be thinking. I'm very tempted by something like e6, queen e6, rook e1, but it doesn't work out tactically, I guess, because we aren't generating enough direct threats.
Yeah. Sharp
Still
position.
looks extremely promising for white. It would take me. It would take something serious for me to move from my declared heel to die on. That Levon is much better.
Nakamura MVL. Yeah. I'm always scared in these positions, but I don't think white is on time here, especially having put the queen on e2. That you end up with this monster knight on e5 that cannot be shifted. But it's not going to happen here. And if it doesn't happen, if black gets queen f6, then usually black is equal here. So I have a feeling this went quite okay for MVL. Yeah, rook c2 played already, indicating that he's willing to slow down a little. Then queen f6, we can even dream of, starting some play on the queen side one day. I think black's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult for me to calibrate because white still has some rather obvious plans, but if let's say white just plays naive chess, just takes on 6, then goes knight e5, we generally just take, or we are tolerating it. No, I mean after rook c, let's say rook c2, queen f6, rook fc1. There are some tactical wrinkles here for black. For instance, if you make, maybe you play a6, because I was wondering if bishop takes 6 and knight b5 is not a threat here. But obviously, if you play a6, it's not going to be. I do have knight a4 though, unless bishop b5 wins the piece, which it might.
Yeah, I think black is fine. And I'm reading WTF Levon. You went queen g4. Is that wrong, or why the WTF?
Maybe black can play g6 now or something. That would be quite unfortunate if g6 is just very strong now.
How does this go?
Knight g5 hg.
Agé.
And then knight goes somewhere, yeah? Knight e3 or something.
Good. Move away. I was wondering, but no, this I can't get away with. Once again, short at least the tempo. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Nah.
doesn't look like a horrible decision by Levon. Maybe it's not the best move in the position somehow.
Oh, this is hanging, yeah. Yeah. Don G is saying, yes, computer likes G6. There you go.
Oh, G6, knight G5, GF maybe. Whoa. That might be a problem.
That makes sense.
Might be a problem.
G6 played.
And G6 played, yeah.
Alright, Fabi going along with the match plan. Fabi needed to win with black. And Anish also needs to win with black in order for it all to play out. Wesley So, of course, notoriously well prepared. So it won't be easy. Anish down on the clock. Has already spent 15 minutes. Well, so has spent a little time, but not as much. As for the position, I don't know. Peter, what you do?
I think black probably should be okay after rook a d8, right? We just go after the g5 pawn, and the bishop on a4 is very important in these types of positions, specifically because it stops the rook from appearing on d1.
There's a question, is MVL in prep? Nope. But
he
you
might
know,
be fine.
he got a decent position. He went for this g5, g4 plan directly. And yeah, Hikaru not tempted to play knight e5, allowing bishop
Which
takes.
surprises me a little bit, honestly. Why wouldn't you play knight e5 here?
Not sure. Maybe he did not want to.
Ah, yeah, queen b8 is very
pawn.
annoying.
Yeah. So he went knight e1, and Maxime wastes no time, exploiting that right now h4 can't be stopped. And if this h-file opens, the white king will feel a little lonely. I like what he's doing here. I guess you can't really take, so you have to go for some knight f4. Yeah, knight f4 played. Well, black should be fine. Queen g5. I don't know. King g7 maybe. Rook h8. Looks good.
Yeah.
It's a very sharp opening, this exchange, Slav.
It is, yeah, and you are only ever so slightly sarcastic there. Lev just sacrifices the exchange, but he does have, I think, a very decent compensation for it. He might not be even worse at all. Bishop c8 played.
Still not the position you wanted
Yeah.
when embarking on these endeavors.
I think this is a bit of a letdown, but I suspect white is still kind of close to okay. Is there any way we could get some kind of a sacrificial something going after bishop c8? I don't quite see it. Also, it's Fabi with black, so you assume he has checked all the silliness there.
And Fabi having a great tournament, 5 out of 6 for the USA. And MVL goes rook f7, same idea as my king g7, but not allowing any checks.
And a mean bean says Fabi is wearing a plain white dress shirt. So
That's all right. That's all right. Thanks for the information. That's good to know. Team
very
Fabi.
important. Very important data, for sure.
So current score is 0-0. Zagnitsa has a seriously better rook endgame against Irina Krush, but black's drawing chances are still intact. Yeah, I know you go rook d6, rook d8, then e6 or b6.
Even in some positions, going for b6 and then doubling on the b file is not unthinkable. Although the white king gets to c2 quite quickly, a lot quicker than you would suspect. And then the pawn on b3 is not as weak, and black gets into trouble potentially.
Yeah.
I think rook d6, e6 is a more realistic source of counterplay for black here.
Our boy.
Our boy, I think, is completely fine, maybe even more than fine.
There you go. Anish Giri has targeted the d5 pawn. Anish, remember, you need to win. And if Wesley goes king e1 and then castles, don't let him get away with it. His king already moved. So he's doing fine. Fabi's doing fine now. Exchange up. And Hikaru Nakamura is in trouble on board 1, I would say, after his exchange
I'm not sure about that, though, because I think no matter how you decide to open the h file, the white king will have a reasonably safe haven. H3, we just go maybe H3, maybe we go rook H7, and then we find a good moment and we play H3 specifically. Because HGFG, the king on F2 will be, I think, more or less completely safe. There's just no way black gets anywhere near it with the center as closed as it is. So I don't think Hikaru is that worried here. He can also start what he's just started with the move knight A2, taking some pieces off the board, and the second knight clearly would like to be on D3 in this position, so he is probably intending, in particular if black takes on C2, something like knight C1, knight G3 becomes goes very high on the list of things white wants to do. But even knight B4, knight D3 is not unthinkable, because I am not sure black ever takes on B4 in those lines.
Hikaru played knight to A2. I don't like it. Just do not like it. So currently, who's better in the match? I guess still fairly balanced. Fabi is slightly better. Zagnitsa slightly better. But I would take Giri and MVL as both being slightly better with black.
Yeah, I think Anish definitely is currently playing for a win, and justifiably so. I just did not like the. I understand it has been played before, but yeah, deviating from the great Kramnik's opening ideas is sacrilege. Not to be entertained lightly.
Are you not entertained?
I am very entertained. I'm also very entertained by people suggesting I should eat more fruit and veggies, possibly in view of me amusing myself to blow my nose. But fruit and veggies is actually what gives me additional bouts of allergy. So I don't know how healthy that advice is.
Eat fewer fruits and veggies.
Exactly. Switch to processed meat at the first sign of danger. But yeah,
we should add at this point that Peter Svidler is not a trained nutritionist.
But neither is Twitch chat, I would argue.
Yeah, neither am I. But you know, I have an education as a chiropractor. And in California, our chiropractor education actually includes a lot of nutrition. So I consider myself a bit of an expert on that topic.
Say what?
Okay, I lied. I'm not a trained chiropractor.
That would have been like top 10 anime betrayals, because I've often needed a chiropractor when I'm in Hamburg, and you never once offered your services.
Ugh, disturbing.
It really is. Not gonna lie.
Artemiev. Nah, we only care about Europe, USA. Send your complaints to @chessproblem on Twitter, or go watch the official show that covers everything in much greater depth, detail, and in less obnoxious colors. Speaking of obnoxious colors, did I show you my new phone? I went with a mint green.
So what phone is that?
It's a smartphone. I'm not sure I'm allowed to name the brand because they're not a sponsor. Mainly because this show does not have any sponsors. But what this show has is, you know, friend sites like chessable.com that have just published a course by a certain Magnus Carlsen. So after this show, after we're done rooting for Anish, go over to chessable.com and, you know, check out chessable.com/Magnus, where Magnus teaches you all of his secrets, like sleep 12 hours per night, watch a lot of Premier League football, and then you shall be world champion. I'm not sure that's exactly the content, but that's how I would imagine it is. And seriously speaking, check it out. Magnus, you know, he knows stuff about chess. chessable.com/Magnus.
Yep.
Where's my coffee? Is it empty already? We just started.
That's
Why am I looking at Adiban Yu Yang Yi? This is India versus China. We promised not to do this. Sorry, Adiban, we love you. And sorry, Yu Yang Yi, you've crushed this tournament and we've been very impressed. But that's what means that your team is already qualified for the final. Therefore, we are sticking with Europe versus USA. The oldest country in the world, the United States of America, facing the upstart Europeans here. And the match looks very, very unclear to me.
I think apart from the rook ending in the Zagnidze Krush board, you could make a genuine argument for black being better on every single board in this match, which is not something you see very often. And I think Wesley has been in the tank here for quite some time, understandably, because it's kind of awkward to deal with the very simple idea of taking on d5 and then perhaps playing b5 and knight c4 is a very typical way of including your somewhat misplaced pieces.
Wow.
And
the MVL knight about to, turn into a beautiful butterfly.
Exactly. I suspect something like rook a7, rook d5, rook c1, b5, king f1 might still be okay, but like it's clearly black who will be enjoying himself after knight c4 here. And I mean, as a Grunfeld player, you really dream of positions like this. Rook a7 played, yeah. Now Anish will take on d5, and we will see what Wesley has come up with, because he really does need a good sequence of moves here to make sure he is not in some trouble. Maybe start with bishop d3 to prevent b5 from happening, at least for one move. Also, perhaps one day the pawn on b6 could be weak if we don't play b5 very soon.
Symphonic Knight is saying, "Don't mock us, Jan. I don't know what mocking I did. I apologize for all the mocking that I've done in the past or will do in the future." USA getting crushed. Nah, it's too early to say that. Fabi has an extra exchange. And Hikaru ain't done yet. But currently, it has to be said, yeah, the match looks good for the Europeans.
How do you make progress, though, for MVL here? I understand it's a very beautiful looking position, and white is quite tied down to the defense of his king side, but is there an actual way to do anything here?
Not yet, no. Here
but I always go knight c2. Yeah, I have these knights connected enough that this should generally, in most cases, just protect against most dangers on the king side.
Danger More 5 is saying, "I'm happy to have joined late and avoided a brutal mocking. We would never mock you, Danger Mouse. You're a friend of the program. But I want to apologize anyway."
Yeah, there was a mention, and honestly, that surprised me, because I also thought that I was not in time because MVL already played rook h8. But instead of rook h8, I think just one move ago, why didn't he play h3?
It was all good just a move ago.
And I think knight c2 probably was... Hikaru probably breathed a huge sigh of relief here, because after knight c2, the knights are connected, and gh bishop takes f4 is no longer a thing. But here it appears to be mate.
Uh-oh.
So how is...
It's just
how are you supposed to survive this? This is very confusing.
Yeah, good spot. Takes, and recaptures. Checkmate. Well, now the defenses are sturdy.
Or at least sturdier than they were a moment ago. This is a very, very strange miss by MVL because, you know, his entire plan up to that point was to give mate along the H file, and then he more or less had mate along the H file and decided not to give it. Yeah, hard to explain why you wouldn't play H3 there.
Fabi. I wouldn't like this position against Fabi. He has this ruthless precision. While being a nice guy, casually he will convert his advantage here.
Yeah, he did create a nice potentially protected passer for white on c5, but the pawn on e5 is in grave danger now, and yeah, looks like it could be
It's trouble.
Maybe we go rook e3 and we kind of hope to be able to green and bear it. Takes, bishop f3. It's not fun, but if you give me a couple of tempi to play b4 and, I don't know, h3 or something, I might be able to stabilize. Knight d1. Yeah.
Yep.
It's still kind of grim.
Hanging around, yeah.
But it doesn't collapse so easily. There's definitely going to be some technique required from Fabi to win this position.
MVL could have scored a big point with the black pieces here had he gone h3 after a4 and a4. But he needed this a4 because if he goes here, then the other bishop will shine into his camp.
But still, you know, this looks bad, but a4 h3 seemed to just be winning by force. So yeah, it remains a mystifying miss by MVL. And in the meantime, Anish, Wesley found a very nice counter idea, and Anish's last move may have been a bit inaccurate. So tables may be turning in that game as well. Rook c1, rook c1. I was suggesting b5 and somehow completely ignoring the fact that b5 can be met by rook c7. But you probably should still do that and sort of just ignore the fact that f7 is hanging, and there's a lot of counterplay you can generate. But after knight c6, the move that Anish made, I'm worried about bishop c4.
How worried? The rook is hanging. Oops.
Yeah, the rook is hanging, so quite a bit worried. This could now require. Yeah, but that endgame is slightly worse, right? We take, we go bishop c4 or something.
I would call it equal. There's also this little check.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you took with the king though.
Okay.
Yeah, but knight a7 and yeah, maybe it's not that bad, but still. This is now like a proper endgame, not like a sharp middle game without queens. And the fact that the white king is in the center and the black one isn't might be worth something.
And Nakamura got away with a draw. Neither side knew how to improve their position anymore here, and the game was drawn. So the Americans need 2 more points to clinch.
Yeah, they definitely got away with one on this board. It does look like h3 was close to just completely winning as far as we can establish. I just don't see any good answers to it at all. So a little bit of a lucky break there for Hikaru.
All right, that means 3 games left. We have the big one. Wesley So against Anish Giri, which now might peter out. What was the line?
Bishop
Was some
b5
weird
and
stuff. Yeah, takes.
but also after
takes.
bishop b5, maybe I can go rook b7. But I suspect that also isn't all that much.
Not particularly scary, is it?
Well, if you lose the b6 pawn, it might become a bit unpleasant. But maybe we just
Shall
never
try
lose it.
not to.
Yeah, maybe we just never lose it here.
Yep.
Still, it feels like you do need to now calculate some lines like this quite precisely because, let's say knight a7 bishop takes d5, you definitely don't feel very safe there with black. Could still be salvageable.
Anish has got this. Focus, calculate, precise line, go home. Or stay home, I should say.
Yeah. And Marian Pavchevich asks what to do after h3 gh in the MVL game. You don't recapture on h3, you take on f4 first. The line you're giving Marian is actually quite good for white if he gets the king on h2 established, but it doesn't happen. Black has a much stronger continuation there. So what do we think about this endgame? Also, why is the bishop... he played before instead of bishop f3. That makes a lot of sense. Why were we playing bishop f3 in this position and not the immediate before is not that clear.
A5 played, which makes a lot of sense.
Logical, yeah.
Black is better, he has more rooks.
Yeah, definitely. Black is definitely better, but with every pawn trade, white's chances to hold somewhat improve. But the thing is, if the queenside structure collapses and the b5 pawn survives, that's more or less all that black needs here. It should be enough. And yeah, it's very, very difficult to hold your structure right now for Lev. BA, I guess rook a8, rook a5, yeah. We can go b8, bishop f3, and c6, but the problem is that pawn doesn't. Rook c8 also unpleasant, yeah.
No, it looks
Maybe
bad.
this one first.
He played rook a8, yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
the
this
thing
looks
is, bishop f3.
Close to lost
Yeah.
to me, frankly.
Bishop f3, c6 kind of progresses your pawn one square, but it's not going to go much further. And yeah, there are weaknesses everywhere. Maybe if we could like play 94, 96 quickly enough here, we could have some hope. And he does go for this because it really feels like this is the only source of counterplay white could ever have in this position. So
You could also calculate bishop e8, but that's better. Win the pawn. No, far we just plays bishop e6. Yeah.
no, but now after 94, I genuinely feel that Lev is sort of within striking distance of setups, which could give him very good drawing opportunities. Because with the knight on d6, I think we can almost always secure the trade of the pawn on a3 for the pawn on b5. And then some kind of a 3 against 2 exchange down could be achieved. Although, like 3 against 2 would be a draw exchange down on the king side if that pawn that is currently on a5 was on f2, but it's not on f2. So yeah, it's still going to be a long slog here for Levon before he ever draws this.
Looks lost to me. Anish. Wow.
Anish doing the right thing, but how is he defending now after knight d4? And maybe he takes on c4 and takes with the rook or what? Because bishop d4, rook d1. Bishop takes a3, bishop takes e3, bishop f4 check exists.
Yep.
That's an important detail.
Black's just fine, no?
That's an important detail, yeah. Probably just fine, yeah.
Oh.
b5. Luckily for us, we still have rook b5 here with a draw. In the meantime, Nana is pushing in her game against Irina. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but she's made some significant progress. King h5, I think rook d3 or rook d2 is.
Yeah, I'm just
bit annoying.
pointing at weaknesses.
Yeah.
Have you heard of famous German rapper Nana?
No, I haven't. I am not very well versed in famous German rappers.
Surprising. It was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. With his big hit, Darkman. How can you hear him coming? I still like King h5. Am I getting mated?
No, mated, no, but I might be able to force you to trade a pair of rooks and then play king g7 and claim I'm not losing.
What do you do?
It's not a strong claim. Rook you taken rook h5.
I want pawn.
Yeah, I'm being willfully blind here. Maybe rook d4. But even then, I think taking and going g5 check might be extremely dangerous for black. Yeah, this is just not fun. Also, Nana has the clock situation well in hand here.
Halbwissen wants to know if you heard of Brutus Brutalis. Nah, but that's unlikely. No, you know, there was a chance.
I actually have, because you told me.
Brutus Brutalis, I must have introduced you to his work, but it's in German, so it's, yeah. Nah, Halbwissen, that was a long shot.
Not the work, but you have mentioned the name, and so I'm aware. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. There was this. What was that guy's name? Was he? But he wasn't German, was he?
It's okay.
Yeah, it'll come to me, or it won't.
Anish, slightly better now. He managed to double them pawns, but of course, it shall peter out.
Anish slightly... No. Anish isn't slightly better. Come on. The b pawn is still the weaker of the two, but it should just be a draw after takes b5, I guess. Rook c8, rook d8 or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be particularly worried with black, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the pawn on h5, you're instantly okay, but with the pawn on h7, like here, I go rook c8. Seriously, like even in this position. b5, rook c8. It's a lot more annoying than you think. Yeah, takes, rook b4. a4. I'm not joking about this.
Are you joking now?
But maybe he can just find a way to include h5 somewhere.
Even h5 here, I refused.
Yeah, probably just doing something like this and then going for activity is a draw. But there is a way. There is a way to lose this. Rook d1, rook e1. But then again, the king on h3 is kind of safe.
Okay, Anish, focus. He's down to seconds.
Rook c8, rook f8, says Wojciech Reza, I guess in the line we were discussing. b5, rook c8. Rook f8 could be very smart here.
Yeah. Nice move, yeah.
Yeah. But you do need to show some precision, I feel.
We gotta spot that, Anish. This is not an easy move to make.
But he's gone takes b5, so I assume he worked it out, because I don't think it's possible to blunder rook c8 in this position.
Siona is asking, did I hear earlier that Jan wants the USA to win? Yeah, but I also want Anish to win. So there's two hearts beating in my chest in this match. So far, well, he needs to find rook f8 now.
I don't know, there's a clever way to do it. You can go, let's say, rook d5, rook takes, rook b4, and you play h5 in that position.
Whoa,
just like they done. In the current position, he goes h5. Anish good, me bad. Well, me mediocre, and Anish excellent.
Yeah, but this is just making a draw. We want him to win.
Yeah, I think that should kind of sailed. Yeah, I think that should kind of sail.
All right, then if Anish is not winning, am I even rooting for the USA still? I'm not sure.
Levon has improved to a position which might be okay for him, question mark. Very much depending on rook takes e4, but I have a feeling white makes a draw there, right? Takes b5. You have to go rook b4. I go b6. Sorry, c7, bishop c8, and rook d3. And this probably is just a draw, right? My guess is. So Fabi declines this invitation, goes rook c8 himself. Sorry, bishop c8. Yeah, I seem to have forgotten what the pieces are called. Alarmingly.
1-1. Giri did indeed draw, doing what Coach Gary Kasparov put him into the match for, drawing Wesley. So that has been the one skill he's honed in this event. Now, with Zagnitsa winning, a US victory looks pretty far away.
Does appear that way. And Nana, I guess, just goes g6 check here, and if king f6, she goes like rook h1 or rook h5. I like rook h1 slightly better.
This is over. Kasparov will be happy with his lineup decision that he had Nana's back in this crucial match.
She's gone back to h5, though. I don't quite like that. I think
Also fine.
you should probably be pushing forward. But yeah, she's still much better.
Goran is such a monster here. Even if you lose all these queenside pawns, Goran will
and now that this is what we're reduced to, people are demanding Caro-Kann Firouzja, so let's give them.
Is that even in the Europe-USA match?
It's not, in all fairness, but Alireza has done something very smart there. Or not, we don't know yet. Alireza is a full piece down, but there's a pawn on h2, which is something you don't see very often.
The king has
Here's
no moves.
He's just won, right? Queen h2, rook h4, and we've actually captured that queen on h2.
It's very pretty.
It's very
nice,
pretty.
Alireza.
It's a nice.
Alireza, he's breathing chess. Well, Caro-Kann, still a very, very strong player. But probably my best guess would be Caro-Kann spending fewer hours playing internet chess than Alireza these days.
I think that's a very safe bet. And yeah, Alireza has already won. And there are some dry-ish positions in that match. We'll come back to that when we finish watching Dr. Levon. And Dr. Levon is putting up a very spirited defense here, going rook a3, with a similar intention once again to invite black to take on e4, go rook a8, and then start pushing the b pawn. It's not gonna win for white, but it should make a draw. Rook takes b4 played, and now we go rook a8, bishop somewhere. No, I think we start with 96 maybe. Hang on, let's go 96. No, even before rook a8, I think.
Okay.
96 asks you to choose a square. Yeah, this doesn't worry me all that much. A couple of checks might actually. Check could force me to make some moves. Although I think it's reasonably safe on g3. I don't really mind, right? g3, f4 should be quite safe for that king. 96 played. I think
Levon's holding this comfortably now.
Is he?
Yep. He is.
Bishop e6. What are we doing? Just c7 or c7, rook c5? I thought you still have to. Yeah, rook c3, and then I had an idea a second ago, like rook d4 maybe. It's back to being slightly awkward for white. Yeah. So yeah, I also think he probably holds this, but he still needs to. He still needs to play precise.
All right, let's try c7 again. Rook c5.
And then it's not hanging yet. But, yeah, but I'm worried. We're just not generating like rook b1, rook c1 even. We're never going to be threatening to go c8.
I just want to make a draw, but I'm not sure I will manage. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe you will. Maybe yeah. The king is not entirely safe, but that 98 fork is playing tricks with us here.
There's a question if Alireza mouse slipped on move 14. It's not how Alireza does it. He's not a mouse slipper. But let's have a look at the position. Queen g4, king f8. No, this is not a mouse slip. This is very much on purpose. Here you run into bishop h6. No. This was all part of the plan. So no.
And this is a very typical well-played Caro game, or at least when it comes out the way it came out, it looks like a well-played Caro-Kann game, because there's generally this structure with these pieces specifically, with the dark squared bishop and the knight on c6 versus the white knight and the dark squared bishop for white, is so healthy for black that you can actually afford to go king f8, king g8, h6, king h7, and spend like 4 tempi castling artificially, as Alireza has shown.
All right, so in our featured match, the score is 1-1. Aronian fighting for survival against Corona, probably successfully, while Zagnitze looks to be firmly in control against Arena Crush. Now picking up the e-pawn.
Yeah, and then they start running. This does now look like it's curtains.
I'll be right back. Now that the Anish game is over, I have to change again.
Fair enough. And in Levon's position, white is currently not really threatening to play c8, although even that is not entirely true, because as you can see on your screens, if white trades the c-pawn for the f7 pawn, all of these endgames will more or less instantly become very, very drawish, if not just outright completely drawn. So yeah, it seems like Lev will get away with one here, but it's less of an unexpected result in terms of like expected. Yeah, I speak really fluent English today. What I want to say is Hikaru's position was worse than Lev's position at any point, I'm pretty sure. So the US don't really have a valid complaint here if both these games end in a draw.
But as you know very well, one doesn't need a valid complaint in order to complain.
That is very true. But still, you should strive to complain validly and not the other way around.
All right. So you get the outcome you desired, because that means we will have action in round number 10. We will not know.
That actually is a kind of a bad result in terms of tournament intrigue. If Europe ends up winning, which currently seems extremely likely, that sort of puts them in a very strong position, because the US are playing China in the final round, and Europe are playing the rest of the world. And the rest of the world, at least until today, have not really been setting the world on fire. Pardon the pun. In this tournament, although you know the start of round 9 with Alireza beating Caro-Kann with black is quite cheerful for the rest of the world team. But all in all, the US definitely are facing the scarier position in the final round.
Then again, China has nothing to play for.
Yeah, but I don't think that the Chinese are, you know, very much into those discussions. Like I think it's very unlike them to not take any match seriously, and I think beating the US is probably something they quite like as an idea.
Don't you think? They're all just good colleagues on the chessboard. I don't think it's so much about who represents whom here.
Yes, but there's still a matter of national pride, and I'm fairly certain that you know, those considerations are quite strong in the Chinese squad. I don't know what I'm basing this on, but like my understanding of how things work in China would suggest that they take a lot of pride in not just doing well in team competitions, but also like dominating where there is some dominating to be done. Who knows? Maybe they also prefer the USA as their final round super final opponents, and then that would factor into the decisions, but I really don't think so. Yeah, in the meantime, Zagnidze did win, and Lev will now very easily hold this. I think it's still a draw even without the pawn on h4, I want to say. Fairly sure it's a draw without the pawn on h4. You just go king g2, bishop f3, and that setup cannot be shifted.
Can't shift it, but having the pawn on h4, there's nothing to play for whatsoever. White can even go for counterplay if Fabi gets a little too funky running around with his king. You can just go after this pawn. So yeah, it's a dead draw, and the Europeans will make a comeback, mainly thanks to Anish Giri, who has proved to be the rock they needed in this crucial match, comfortably holding Wesley So on board number 3 to draw with the black pieces. Then Nanat Zagnidze scored the full point on the women's board, and Hikaru Nakamura was actually in trouble against MVL, as was Levan Aronian to some extent against Fabian Caruana. But in the end,
Yeah.
both games ended peacefully.
We suspect that Levon was better to begin with and then significantly worse, but defended very accurately, found all the counterplay he needed in the mid game, where at some point it seemed like his position is just bad. And yeah, we'll hold this very, very easily. It's really not a problem at all to draw this position. That means that before the final round, and that also means that we could finally perhaps look at some other results. And Russia got...
Oops, that was the chat. I brought up the chat accidentally. Apologies. Never shall the chat be on screen.
Yeah, Russia got somewhat destroyed in their match against the rest of the world because they... Well, that's maybe a bit strong. No, they will actually draw. I apologize. They got destroyed on boards 1 and 2. Artemiev, I think it does feel like he may have just blundered a pawn somewhere around move 20 and did not save the game thereafter against Timur Rajabov. And we have seen the Karyakin-Firuja game, but Andreikin mated Dr. Basem, and Olga Giria on the women's board appears to be completely winning now against Maria Muzachuk.
So a 2-2 in the making there. These results aren't complete yet because they factor in what team currently has 2 points in their match. But
And
it does look...
in the China versus India match, which we more or less completely ignored, Yuengi continues winning like every game seemingly in the
7.5 out of 9. That is amazing. Yu Yang Yi, who's had a rough 2019, is coming back with a vengeance in this one. Hats off. And
Yeah, that is really quite striking amount of points to score in such a level playing field. Yeah, beating Adiban with the black pieces. Adiban seemingly is playing a reasonably safe position in the G3 Nimzo, knight of 3 G3 Nimzo. I should probably say.
yeah, Adiban and Vidit had a tough time for India. Adiban 1/2 out of 4. Vidit 2 out of 7. Never really gave India a chance to hang in there in the competition. Vishy Anand had a great event, scoring I think 5 out of 8 plus 2 on the top board. But was not quite enough to hang. So the last round will be USA or Europe. Russia out of contention.
Yeah, everybody's out of contention, but those 3 teams. And Europe starts round 10, I think, as a firm favorite in terms of qualification for that super final match against China tomorrow.
And China has draw odds there? They do, right?
And China does get draw odds tomorrow.
That's a strange final. It's like if you have the Champions League final saying, you know what, you guys did better in the qualification stage. 0-0, you are the champions. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not criticizing it because, of course, you want the performance in this qualification stage, which is 90% of the tournament, to be rewarded in a way. It just feels strange that a 2-2 wins you the thing somehow. Not used to that format.
Yeah, it's somewhat unusual for sure, but
Are we right about this? Can someone confirm? By the way, it came up like I think yesterday.
no, I got an email from David Sedgwick, who generally knows these things, and once again, thank you, David, for getting in touch and providing me with the full PDF of the regulations, which admittedly I have not read because I trust David's word on it, where it concerns the relevant part of the regulation. So fairly certain China gets draw odds.
The round is over, right?
Pretty much, maybe entirely.
Let's look at them results again. Russia 2-2 versus the rest of the world. China resting Ding Liren, still defeating India, who also rested Vishy Anand today. Europe got by the USA in the one match that was still hugely important for the final outcome, which makes them, favorite because they're now a point ahead of USA going into this final round, where we shall see Russia, India playing for the golden pineapple, as we call it in Germany.
And somewhat interestingly, let me just check briefly, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. Europe won both of their matches against the US.
Wow.
So they probably can also tie, I assume. Although board points probably are a higher tiebreaker for the final standings than head-to-head. But the head-to-head is very decisive in Europe's favor, because Europe actually won 3-1 in the first match, with victories by Lev over Linier Dominguez and Nana beating Anna Zatonskih. And +1 now, once again, Nana winning both of their games against the American women, and 3 draws on the men's boards.
Europe beating the USA twice? What sports is this? Like soccer? Europe
Unclear.
facing the rest of the world.
Europe by far the strongest server in this particular competition, which pleases me no end.
Europe the strongest servers, or I didn't catch it.
Yeah, that's a EU versus NA joke, which doesn't quite work.
Please explain.
Really? Okay. In many sports, the competition is separated into geographically separate. Like, there are European servers, American servers, and also APAC, Australia and Asia Pacific, and there's a separate Chinese server which only Chinese players have access to, and EU versus NA is a thing. But I was hoping to make it inconspicuous, and you didn't give me a chance.
Never. China, USA. Yeah, this looks tough for the US and A. Europe, full point ahead, holding whatever tiebreakers the tiebreakers are, and facing, at least on paper, the weaker squad in the last round. Europe also captained by Garry Kasparov, who will yell at them as no coach has yelled at his team since David Hasselhoff in dodgeball, should they lose. Therefore, I can't see Garry not willing his team into the finals here. And then, finals, there's all to play for. You have MVL, you have Levan Aronian, you have Anish Giri, or Jan Krzysztof Duda, Anna Zagnidze, or Anna Musicuk. It will be a tough match for both sides. Because you can't expect Yu Yang-yi to just win every single game. Maybe you can.
Yeah, it's unclear, but stranger things have happened. Alberto Muniz raises up an important point that US is currently tied with Europe on board points, despite being a point behind on match points, which means that if they actually do get tied, board points do count ahead of their.
If they catch up, they actually overtake them. So they can't just catch up.
But they will need to, you assume, probably beat China in the last round to catch up.
We should add the disclaimer that neither of us is a trained mathematician, although my virology training, of course, included a lot of math. Where are them standings?
Them standings are somewhere on the website, I'm pretty sure. Which is exactly where they should be.
China 17, Europe 12, USA 11. After round 9. Russia 6. That's a bitter disappointment. India 5. And rest of the world 3. Starting to feel like rest of the world is not really a chess nation.
Yeah, something like that.
What do we do, Peter? I got nothing to talk about. We can't argue who the strongest non-world champion player is every day. I actually got an email saying that topic has been discussed so often. Discuss something else next time. You need
Really?
to fill
An
time.
actual email.
Yeah, an actual email. Let me look up what the email suggested, because I can't recall what the topic was to be debated instead. Here we are, filling gaps. Who is the weakest player who has ever achieved a complete winning position in a classical game against a former world champion? That's the question we want us to discuss, but that's just a quiz. I don't know.
Also,
do you not have to win the game? Because I remember Vichy losing a classical game to... what's our French friend called in World Cup round 1?
yeah. What was his name?
International
That was such
master.
a hashtag adult improver story. Touzan.
Olivier Touzan, there you go. Anyway, we don't know. Larry Christiansen Karpov. Nah, Larry Christiansen can't have been the weakest. He was I would guess, top 20 grandmaster at that time that game was played.
Yeah,
if I can say.
No, I mean the way that question is framed, Larry Christensen is nowhere near the potential answer.
Don G is saying Yates absolutely crushed Alekhine once. I'm always confused about these historic guys. These guys Yates, that you see popping up in a lot of the tournament tables. Was Yates like a top 20 player at that time? I would guess so, no? I don't know.
Yeah, and people are saying I saw Alireza blundering a full rook against 1800 in classical. Yeah, but Alireza isn't world champion yet. So, once again, interesting trivia bit.
I was there. Antonia Ziegenfuss. Yeah, that was in Karlsruhe in the Grenke Open.
Yeah, but not the qualified answer yet.
We're being told Anand lost to Pascal Charbonneau in the Olympiad. Yeah, but Pascal Charbonneau is a grandmaster and a stronger player than Olivier Touzan, who we already named. So that's not the answer either. Still, shout out to Pascal for crushing Vichy. That was a good game.
Is this the only suggestion the email provided? Because it really does appear to be very weirdly specific. Maybe the sender of the email is somehow in the running for that.
No. It got even more specific here. And the icing on the cake, after the former chose the opening moves 1, d3, d5, 2, d4. Looks like he was fooling around. For the answer, check this link. If you actually present this question to your audience, please let me know. We are presenting it.
So what's the answer?
Don't make me write emails, please. I don't know. I'm checking the link. I'm assuming it's the author of that email. But the link is loading slowly.
Maybe you got fished.
I did get fished.
That would be the most elaborate phishing scam in the entirety of phishing scams, right? Sending you an email suggesting you research some really, really weird, chess trivia, and then the link provided ends up, stealing.
That is a strange.
Stealing your credit history somehow.
No, it is indeed the author of the email. I should do that. Yeah, congrats, Lothar Nikolaichuk got a winning position against Vasily Smyslov, but lost the game in Dortmund 1986. All right, not sure if that filled the entire gap, but yeah, thanks for the input.
No, it definitely did not fill the entire gap. The rounds have been going very slowly. It feels like the players are feeling a little bit frisky and playing quicker. And in this round in particular, I don't think a single game went to what you would consider like a proper online time trouble with people down to, I don't know, 10 seconds.
I need more coffee. Do you wanna? Let's play some clips. Then.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind restocking on coffee either.
In the meantime, challenge Peter Svidler. I'm sure he will be happy to play a game or two. I'm just jumping this on him to
definitely don't mind at all, but would like to get some coffee prior to doing that.
All right, so we'll take a 5-minute break. That gives you the time to go premium on chess24.com if you aren't already. That gives you access to all the video series and also gives you the chance to challenge people like Peter Svidler, like Magnus Carlsen, like many others in their banter blitz session. So go get yourself a coffee, go premium on chess24.com, then challenge Paul Borta. That's Peter's username. I have no idea why. It's a fun story that we could get into, I'm sure. He will play some games, and we will be back with the final round of the qualification stage of this FIDE-Chess.com online Nations Cup at around 5 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Also, check out our friends at chessable.com who have a new video series / course by a certain Magnus Carlsen. I want to stop by there. We'll be back soon. Bye.
What does it take to be the greatest, the highest chess rating ever achieved, the longest unbeaten streak in the history of chess? The Magnus Touch. Get a free lesson from world champion Magnus Carlsen with Chessable's interactive move trainer at chessable.com/Magnus.
Question on Twitter from Damas. I should not have pronounced that. That was a bit of a trap, yeah?
For those of you who are new to chess, it might look like ba3 is an illegal move here because white advances pawn 2 squares, not 1. But it's a little something we call en passant. And you can do that, but you have to do it instantly. You can't wait for a move, like let's say play king e7, king g2, and now try, because I couldn't do it.
I'm sorry. This is too funny for words.
This is a software glitch? I'm pretty sure there's not a lot.
Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. Yeah, I'll play 4 against Lawrence. And now he's going to play something against me which we discussed at length during the course of my stay. Yeah, he told me this is excellent. d5, this was what I was kind of hoping for, because now I think e5 is quite strong. No, Lawrence, this is not how chess works. Sadly, it would be much, much more fun if chess actually worked like this. But I don't think it does. Or maybe it does. Well, that's me regretting what I just said. How did I get from there to here is a little bit beyond me. And what's worse, I will never hear the end of it. My quality of life has just gone downhill tremendously because I'm actually sharing the office with the guy.
let's not just look at openings move by move, but let's try to understand a little something and look at a few typical structures that can arise out of a bunch of main openings. And hopefully, understanding these structures and the typical plans and the ideas will help you a little bit in your own practice. Laurent, what structures will we cover?
So first of all, we'll cover one very famous structure, Carlsbad structure, which can arise from the Queen's Gambit mainly, but from other openings as well, like the London system or the Caro-Kann.
So, fond childhood memories of the Carlsbad. Thank you. It's important for everyone to understand what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Then we'll have a look at some Rui Lopez, actually, which is the classical line, not the Marshall or the Berlin, but this classical position where white plays d4 and sometimes even goes like with the pawn on d5, or even sometimes taking on c5. We'll see some nice game of Bobby Fischer here, and some nice cup of game after d5.
Here you will share your Russian upbringing with us. You have all the classical education in the Rui Lopez. Some nice examples there, hopefully. Then we move on to the French structure, which I don't understand particularly well, but this position has always intrigued me. Who's better and why? What are the plans? Why can white hope for an advantage? Is a space advantage such a big deal? And the French structure can of course arise mainly via the French after moves like knight c3, knight d2 or e5, but we also have a small detour into the Caro-Kann, which is very similar, but not quite the same. I've always been intrigued by this
Because the bishop can go out here, bishop f5, and it's of course assist times for black, but it's not. Life is not that simple, as we will see. And the last topic will be the symmetrical positions, which can arise basically from different move order, like the French exchange French or Petrov, we're showing right now, or even the Berlin Rookie 1, where we will see an unfinished masterpiece from the current world champion Magnus Carlsen.
Right. Symmetrical positions here, we mean these positions where either side is missing an e-pawn that are very common in today's practice. So this series is not intending to cover every pawn structure imaginable, but we hope we show some that are instructive and relevant, and we hope that you'll enjoy it, maybe even learn something.
Yeah.
Are we back?
We've never left.
That is true. The board has left, but why exactly?
It promised to return, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll find some board.
Hooray.
Hooray what?
That's a board.
Yeah, not the board we wanted, though, but a board it is.
It's a board we deserve.
It's not the board we needed, but maybe the board we deserve. How about now? No, it looks like... Oh, there it is. We got bored. And sorry if you guys got bored as well. Now is your once in a today chance to play the 8-time, maybe at some point 9-time Russian champion Peter Svidler in a blitz game. Challenge him on Chess24. His username is Paul Borta if you're at Chess24. Remember.
Let's go.
Rasta is saying, I guess the people here are like more fun, right? Nope.
Nope.
Grim.
I would even go as far as to say grim dark.
elitist chess nerds is the theme.
Whoa. An actual Tarosh. Or maybe Sharagenig. Yeah, no Sharagenig for me. That would have been very confusing.
He's going to play the Dubov line, Father Jack.
He's going to play the Dubov line against me, which is going to be very confusing yet again. I think Jan at some point gave me some valuable info on things, but I don't remember it anymore.
It's nice to get valuable info on things.
Yeah, but then you have to know how to use it. Like, I think I'm supposed to just do something. Yeah, like it's weirdly non-specific, and I already feel like I've not done the right thing here. I remember the point was that White had strong moves, and if he made those said strong moves, which I obviously don't remember, he would be safely ever so slightly better. But what are they?
I don't know. Take the pawn, leave the cannoli.
Sort of, yeah. That's what I'm trying to do here. Whoa, Queen d8 played instantly.
Father Jack knows.
Father Jack actually checked something, and that
Jack
appears to be a form of cheating. Kind of a mild form of cheating. It's kind of a
It's a form of cheating that many people have embarked in over the years.
Embarked maybe on or
Embarked
potentially
on, yeah?
upon.
Embarked upon.
Yeah, but yeah, we can't really judge Father Jack too harshly. Even I have been known to occasionally cheat in that manner, but I do feel
It's okay. We know you're a sportsman in that aspect.
I'm about as sportsmanlike as they get, yeah, at a certain level.
Danger Mouse is saying Father Jack has Erwin Lamy's Chessable course. Yeah, Erwin did a course on this, on Chessable, on the Dubov Tarosh. And he probably gave all this nonsense. It's given in his course I'm reading, yeah, by other sources as well. There you go.
Mm-hmm. I'm weakening my position.
But Erwin, can you count? Says the man who did a Marshall course on Chessable. You should have gone knight d4. Centralize.
Yeah, I just did not see that move at all.
Not sure it was
So
good.
instead I'm making sure I don't blunder the a2 pawn at any point in this game, which is also, I mean, knowing myself is a very valid concern. But yeah, seeing knight d4 would have been an improvement.
Giant Turkey Leg is saying, it's amazing. If Peter were to describe himself to an FBI sketch artist, we'd get a picture of his slovenly... How do you pronounce the word? Slovenly? Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally
like that, yes.
disagreeable 1300.
1300 is maybe a bit harsh. I don't know if I'm that disparaging about my own skills. Where does this knight go?
Your head keeps rotating. It's scary. Queen e7. I don't know.
I wanted to go knight a1,
94.
knight c2, knight e3, but it's a bit slow. Might result in difficulties. Why am I not more better here? I feel like I should be more better
Better,
than
right?
I am. Better, exactly. Why am I not better here?
Wow, I'm being body shamed on Twitter. I thought the one place that was safe out there to escape all the shaming was Twitter. But no.
You
What's
are
going
body
on,
shamed
Jan?
on Twitter.
You used to be fit. I do look huge on that picture I posted. I'm still fit, brah. It's the angle. It's the angle.
It clearly is the angle.
Very hurtful. Very hurtful.
Jan is very swole.
Actually, I have this scale that measures all kinds of stuff, and it defined my body shape as beefy now. Literally says body shape beefy. I'm not sure if that's a compliment scale.
Yeah,
I kind of liked it, but I was surprised they put beefy as a body shape in there.
Yeah, Beefy is a beloved English cricket commentator. Well, beloved is maybe strong, not by everybody, by some people.
What comes after beefy? Doughy? It was actually my scale app is in German, so it said beefig, which I'm pretty sure means beefy. All right, let's discuss my body in further detail. This is exciting.
Yes. That's exactly what the show has been missing all these years.
I would take my shirt off, but we're not allowed to on Twitch, right?
Yeah. Obviously, also there's a queue. Like we can't possibly be, the first ones to get the shirt off on Twitch. We have to wait until Dog does it, and if Dog does it, then maybe we can be second in line.
Which dog is that?
The Dog.
Dog. Okay. Rasta saying, compared to me, Jan looks like a model human. Should I take that as a compliment? I think I will. Thank you, Rasta. Danger Mouse is saying, my scale says 1 at a time, please. I doubt that, Danger Mouse. I doubt that. It's funny. Merton wants to know, Peter, favorite grind mark authors?
Favorite?
You're gonna flag Father Jack anyway, so we might as well distract you. No,
Yeah,
I misread. Grimdark.
It's probably Grimdark. Yeah, and the only reason I actually know this word is that I've been my current most favorite fanfic is something called Worth a Candle, which is I can't recommend highly enough. It really is very, very good, and they discuss the concept of grimdark, but I don't read enough of the genre to have favorite authors. Why is Cthulhu trying to play the Berlin against me? This should be outlawed.
He's the Dark Lord. You probably know your Cthulhu reference from Lovejoy, right? I know it from South Park. That's the difference.
I'm now trying to calibrate for how upset I should be about the word Lovejoy.
Lovecraft?
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. HP. I know the HP.
You do know the HP. You start with 30 HP and you go from there.
Mr. Dorji wants to know, how big is Laurent's hair right now? That is a good question. Laurent, can you come on the show so we can see your hair? Where do I talk to Laurent normally? Oh, on Facebook. Let's send Laurent a link so at least we can shame him then if he refuses my offer.
I don't know if I agree with Bishop G4, Bishop D7 there, Cthulhu. Honestly, what are you doing?
Get it together, Cthulhu. Exactly. You think this is all fun and games? This is a serious program.
Very much so. I also don't agree with Bishop E3 there. What are you doing? Now he will play C5 and be completely fine. This is a bit upsetting. Okay, if he doesn't play C5, he will no longer be completely fine, arguably. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I quite like him instantly playing A5 in that position. That I think is the correct approach.
All right, I sent Laurent a link to the show. He will probably use his standard excuse that he's not wearing clothes. But I'm not sure if we should.
Is that the excuse he normally goes for?
Normally that's the one he goes for.
But maybe this is what people have been clamoring for.
Libertarian saying, I just can't describe how happy I am that Trent is not commentating. Let's send Trent the link as well. Libertarian, you're not even a premium member. Express your happiness. Go premium to prevent Trent. That's the new business model. See, Laurent's new excuse. He's saying my internet is crappy for a week already. Only working on phone. I have another excuse this time. He's so camera shy.
Yeah, how am I to make
Lawrence?
progress in this position is the new burning question of the day. It's not very burning though. I can just faff about and wait for my opponent to lose on time in the time-honored fashion. Knight h5 is strong though. I should not have allowed that. Oof. Yeah, that was very poorly played by me. I think black probably is just better now after something like queen e7 or queen e6, queen g6. The last few moves were like stunningly poor, but d is a mistake. Bishop takes b3 and queen takes e5 was of course the way to go there for Cthulhu. And now I need to somehow resolve my kingside issues, and I'm back to being safely better. Rook d4 looks kind of nice, but doesn't actually do very much. Hopefully.
Little Richard dies at 87. May he rest in peace. What did I switch on now? Are Facebook also producing annoying sounds?
Hang on a second, Little Richard was still alive?
I think that's what these news imply.
Yeah, I understood that, and I was kind of in shock. So the mission is complete. We have successfully flagged Cthulhu by playing horribly but quickly.
So it's done.
And Cat's Cradle is my childhood acquaintance and the author of the upcoming book on Vasily Smyslov. So do not be fooled by that 2001. It says below his name he is, I assume, significantly stronger than that.
What's Cat's Cradle? Dire Straits?
It's a book by Vonnegut, I assume in his case. It's a children's game, but I think for like ex-Soviet people, it first and foremost is a book by Kurt Vonnegut.
What's that song? The cats in the cradle and the silver screen.
Not aware.
Green Day? No. Someone tell us.
Yeah, I'm not really enjoying this very much. I feel like I may not have equalized here, not that it matters greatly.
Harry Chapin.
Can we go b5 here? Is there any way to justify just playing b5 here and playing some kind of a weird Volga? Let's try. I mean, it's probably...
Oh, Ugly Kid Joe. That's the one I was thinking of. Sorry, I'm having a separate conversation here about this Cats in the Cradle song. I was thinking of Ugly Kid Joe, yeah.
I think he probably should have accepted the offer. I think this is now an improvement compared to the position I could have had if he just took on b5 twice. I think it's once again a case of people believing me when I declare I've seen some tactics. In most cases, it doesn't mean I have actually seen any tactics, and I'm just bluffing. But you know, often I see people not taking me up on it and kind of paying the price, and here suddenly I'm just much better, undeservedly.
Very undeservedly. You are a much weaker player than Cat's Cradle. You got very lucky that he gave you the queen.
I did get very lucky in that game.
You should apologize for the victory, in my opinion.
No, I'll consider it.
Tisa Belling is saying, can someone tell me who Mr. Dodgy is? He was on this program the other day. He said he's never coming back again. But that's as much information as we will ever get about Mr. Dodgy. We've established he's from Wales, lived in England, lives now in Sweden. He's currently trying to, find backers for his Mr. Dodgy Invitational. So if you want to sponsor the Mr. Dodgy Invitational, currently features Peter Heine Nielsen and Peter Svidler as participants, then get in touch with Mr. Dodgy at Chess Problem on Twitter, and send him money or goods or fruit, vegetables. He will accept anything as prizes for his tournament.
Fruit and vegetables in particular is very welcome, as we have learned today.
It would be unfortunate, though, if Peter wins the fruit and vegetables, because he's supposed to eat less of all that.
Exactly. This is quite clever by my opponent. Maybe queen d2. Queen d2 is like the most natural move in the position, but I'm beginning to think it may have been a mistake.
Yeah, that was cunning. Mr. Dodgy is saying prices so far include $50 and one signed photo of him on a horse.
Yeah.
Are you...
It's like that old British joke. At some point, the Russian car manufacturers Lada were sponsoring some snooker tournaments in the UK, and the joke went: the first prize of the Lada Invitational is a Lada, and the second prize.
I know the punchline. Second prize, 2 Ladas.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Dodgy, would you trade your picture of a man on a horse for 2 pictures of a man on a horse? Mr. Dodgy is saying signed by me or the horse, winner's choice. Sounds like a lie. Horses can't even ride.
Well, depending on the horse, I think. Maybe Dodgy's in touch with, the agency that runs Bojack. And
I've never seen Bojack ride anything.
Haven't we?
It's Diane doing all the riding for him. Diane win.
I'm aware. But yeah, it's a question I would need to very seriously consider. Have we actually seen him ride in any of the episodes at all? Maybe not.
Sure. I've been around many horse, and I have not seen a lot of riding there. Symphonic Knight is saying signed by the horse. All right, but you're not even invited to the tournament yet, Symphonic Knight, unless you are Peter Heine Nielsen.
Which we assume he isn't, because he is not a hippo.
Fish1 is saying stealing people's punchline is not on. Yeah, I should apologize for that. Sorry. I got so excited because I knew the Lada punchline. Sorry.
Why am I slightly worse even in this position?
Because I'm distracting you.
No.
to
It
give
has.
people
I'm very sure it has
chance.
something to do with the horrible quality of my play.
As long as you apologize, I think it's okay. That's how Donald Trump does things. Therefore,
Yeah,
Might as
exactly, Advocatus. I think in the underwater episode there was a note written by Bojack, and this is honestly this was the one I kept coming back to when I was thinking that.
yeah, but those were special circumstances. He couldn't talk.
Yes, but
I don't
that
think
kind of
Dodgy
proves
holds
that
any horses in water tanks.
Why am I slightly worse in this position? Like, what
You can
is
try to
this?
repeat moves: bishop g5, bishop g7, bishop h6.
I can,
to
but-
escape that slight worseness.
The slight vorsity of my position.
Dealing with slight worseity. Spy guy saying, "I'd rather see a picture of a horse riding Mr. Dodgy." That's just gross. Spy guy.
Yeah, yeah. Perhaps that's uncalled for.
Giant Turkey like is saying, "Jan, your e5 course on Chessable seems like a lot of work, and I was gonna play the Peerts instead. Thoughts?" I think that's a wise decision, Giant Turkey like. Play the Peerts do not work on chess. Symphonic Knight is saying that would be worthwhile though, and Magnus might take that offer up if he got a real photo signed by the horse. No, Magnus already declined his invitation. I think it does not matter how many horse pictures are being thrown in there.
Yeah. Whoa, rook a3. I missed that. But maybe I don't care. Actually, I kind of care. I'm trying to win this game.
I don't
by
even
playing-
care. Do you?
I'm trying to win this game by playing horribly. It worked for me previously, but I think in this game it might not actually work.
No, no chance. You only have double the time. You should spend at least 5 seconds on this move and then apologize for the flagging later. Pramor MVS is asking, Jan is participating. First of all, great to see you and hear from you, Pramor. Where have you been all these years? Secondly, I have not been invited, so I do not know. I do not know if I would accept the invitation, but no invitation has been granted. Therefore, we might never find out.
Are the games starting? Because I feel more and more.
Games are not starting, but they might start soon. It might be risky to play another one. Then again, sometimes you gotta risk it to win the biscuit. Mr. Bonko25 is asking, Jan, was it really Magnus that crushed you through the username Solomon more than a year ago? Yeah, 2015 is more than a year ago. No, that was not Magnus. Now we can reveal it. It was actually Peter Svidler acting as Johann Salomon.
Say what?
Nah, that was a lie too. Mr. Dodgy is saying, I'm not sure if I should invite Jan. I need commentators too. Well, Trent, the people's choice.
And now we shall proceed to play against somebody who identifies as I take helicopter.
I like that username. Why didn't I think of that? It got a little darker in these post Kobe Bryant death times. That makes me like it less, but I like the sound of it a lot. I take helicopter sounds like IR baboon. It's a good username.
It is a good username, yeah. And it's a good thing to identify as well.
My mic is dead? You guys can't hear me? That's weird.
That would be very alarming.
That'd be super strange. It's good now. Breathe in, breathe out.
And Leonard 0-0 with a very high-tech suggestion that you should be able to tip to raise or lower the mic levels of the commentators, and that would be very lucrative for Chess 24.
Yeah, giving you some previews right here.
Indeed. Maybe I should have played before here. now he will play before, and me not playing before he plays before will be shown to have been an accuracy. See?
Father Jack is saying, Peter, you played the Doom of
unfortunate.
Lamy line very well. Maybe I will play the von Hennig Shara Gambit next time. There you go.
I don't think I have, actually. I think I played that game not that well is what we'll go with, but thanks for the compliment. And there seems to be a recurring request for me to talk about the London Candidates 2013 and my win against Magnus. It feels like it's a ground which has been trodden on quite a bit by this point, but I did win that free roll. And any victory in those circumstances will obviously be extremely memorable, but that game mattered a great deal more to Magnus than it did to me. So it was a lot easier for me to play.
Yeah, we all would have beaten Magnus with black there. It was actually a bit of a shameful performance that Peter, was not even a clean game.
Yeah, exactly. I was worse out of the opening.
So please stop hurting his feelings by bringing that up.
Something along those lines, yes.
There's a question when the next opening clinic will come. Yeah, apologies about that. My excuse is that I've been literally streaming a couple hours every day doing live commentary, with the exception of last Monday when I was in meetings a couple hours. So I've had very little time for opening clinics. When this stuff ends, I'll get back to the clinicking. Sorry that it's been on hold.
Hashtag when will it end?
Might never end, actually. There's this... The Steinitz thing is 15th till 17th. I'm hearing some mumblings that there might be something after that. So I might just be here every day, trolling my way through chess commentary.
I thought I had a very nice position here, but actually c6, knight b7 and c6 is quite cleverly done by my opponent. d5 is not currently a threat, but any move I could make which sort of improves my position will make it a threat. So let's just waste some time playing vaguely improving moves.
Mr. Bonko is asking, Jan, Chess24 is based in Hamburg, right? Chess24 is everywhere. It's in Gibraltar, Hamburg, Madrid, Paris, Copenhagen, Oslo. But currently we're all sitting in our basements / studies. So I don't know. There is an office in Hamburg. It's not the headquarters. There's no gift shop there. I haven't been there for a while. I've been sitting in my basement for months now. Not planning to get out. Like I didn't even know about the COVID-19 thing. It was just a bit of a life choice. I built this studio way before.
Yeah. One more, or do we have games?
There should be games. No, why are there no games? No games yet. Just, expecting them every minute. Riska Kora saying the heart of Chess24 is in St. Petersburg. Could not agree more. Chapakapacha. He's saying I have Twitch and Chess24 open at the same time. That's amazing. How do you do that? Like, do you have two computers? It's interesting that the Twitch feed is ahead of the Chess24 feed. I'm so confused.
That probably can be resolved by Control F5ing both of those pages, but unless you actually want the very, very beautiful stereophonic effect of us saying the same thing over and over again.
Are we embedding the Twitch feed on Chess24 or the YouTube feed? Because we're everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Tinder, Twitch. It's streamed live to all these platforms. And I'm not sure which one we're embedding. Maybe we're embedding the Twitch feed. Then it would make sense if the Twitch feed was first. Not sure.
And FU side says you meant Alt F4. Yeah, I clearly meant Alt F4.
The games are resuming, so we have to abort this game. So sorry, Better Call Magnus.
And yeah, games are resuming, and you already see some
Queen C1.
Very.
This is the famous game Yusupov against Heinz Vertensson. I know that because I did a couple video series with Artur Yusupov. And the one where he talks about his game against Vertensson and the principle of two weaknesses. It's one of my favorites. Check that out on Chess24, Yusupov, Prophylactic Thinking. One of my favorite video series that we've done. And Queen C1 is a cute little move. The point is E3. Not great because of G5. That's the idea of this Queen H6 move. But Queen C1, then you can meet G5 with knight takes E4. DE bishop G5. So in that game, knight takes D2. Apologies. Was played and they got this endgame, which was, you know, teeny tiny bit better for white.
Yeah, and Artemiev obviously very well aware of all these things. Plays Queen C1 instantly, and we did back in the tank.
We did. You can't play Queen D6, Queen H6, and not know Queen C1. That's just strange. Because Queen D6 is a bit of an acquired taste here. Like C5 is a more usual move. Artemiev seems to have taken a liking to these bishop G5 and then knight E4, bishop somewhere systems. He played bishop F4 against Fabi. No, this. And whoa! Not the match I want to cover, but this is fun. Queen C1, G5 was played. Knight E4, DE, bishop G5, Queen H5. Vidit is saying, show me the money.
Well, knight G1. The money is there.
Knight G1 blitzed out. Have you blundered Vidit, or is this some deep prep?
Yeah, I'm very curious, because maybe he just kind of... I'm trying not to use that word in the context of chess commentary, because it normally is code for blundered. But in this particular case, there is maybe some legitimacy to saying he forgot the G1 square exists. Because it's possible to just calculate sort of proactive moves forward for this knight. Knight E5 loses a piece to F6, knight D2 loses the bishop on G5, knight H4, F6 loses a piece, and then you think I can actually go for this position. So, and the knight calmly retreats to the starting position, and you are...
Why does that warrant the use of the word forgot, though? You know, that's one of my pet topics.
I think about the only time where you can use the word forgot without, you know, bringing shame to...
Yeah, my point is why isn't it missed? He missed knight G1. Like,
yeah,
you remember there's a square on G1, right?
No, sure, but like for me, it's actually a mistake I've made numerous times, and I know this happens to me occasionally, where squares just completely kind of disappear from my field of vision. Like I actually take time to calculate and to try to figure something out, and a very obvious move by a piece which has to move somewhere just completely disappears from all of my calculations. And
I understand all that. My issue is with the word forgot, because that implies that you knew it a second ago, and then, you know, you just had a memory glitch, which is why
as mentioned, I am trying not to use it specifically because of that, because really it's very difficult to find a context in which missed would not have been just as appropriate and would be less misleading. But
I'm curious. There could be that Vidit has prepared all this. No, can we rule that out?
Not entirely, no. But it doesn't look to me like this should be enough. Like just take on C5. Yeah, take on C5. Retreat to E3 when the bishop gets chased away from G5, and then eventually, I'm sure these pieces do come out. Anyway, and once they do come out,
the two matches we should be talking about are the Europe match and the USA match. The USA needs to score more match points than Europe in order to make the finals. And if they do not,
the chat is full of people saying Fabi is already winning by move 14, which is quite striking if true.
It's my boy. But they're playing this line that Fabi might know a little something about.
Yeah, but like bishop takes H7 might just be winning now. Yeah, I think this is probably what chat means.
All of this is this kind of famous Petrov line that was played in the World Championship match. Bishop F4, D5, Knight G5. Bishop F4, I guess, is not what Magnus played. I can't remember. As usual.
No. I think Magnus twice went King B1, Bishop Queen A5, C4, right?
Yeah, they got this endgame. Yeah. But Bishop F4, Caro-Kann, of course, knows his stuff here.
Yeah, and I really think that something has gone wrong here for how maybe he misremembered something, because in the current position, I think we can take on H7 with, frankly, either piece, right? just take, queen takes d5, and I win 2 pawns for more or less nothing, because queen h5 check, yeah.
Resigns. g5 we can try, but even queen d7, like other things will.
And he goes c4 instead.
Come on,
which confuses
Fabi.
me greatly.
He missed it.
Or maybe he just trusted how to have something there, but what could you possibly have? Like, it's a free h7 pawn.
Sorry, we didn't have a board on screen. This happens to me sometimes. I apologize. I will briefly recap. So is this Petrov line known for the World Championship match? King b1, queen a5, c4 was played there. Bishop f4 is Caruana's choice. And after d5, knight g5, bishop g4, f3, bishop d7. We're talking about takes on h7. Takes, takes, king h7, queen d5.
Yeah, probably bishop takes is even harsher, but yeah. And Symphonic Knight says hard for a human to imagine something taking on h7. I would disagree.
This looks...
I think I would have spotted it, and Fabi also would have spotted it instantly normally, because of just how, you know, White's entire setup screams there might be some tactics connected with our complete dominance over the open files in the center.
Frankly, it's a fairly standard, or not standard, but a fairly simple tactic. Yeah, it's surprising Fabi missed it.
Yeah, maybe he... No, but it's just so difficult to imagine not taking on h7 if you notice the move exists. Like, after bishop takes h7, I suspect you actually play king h8, and maybe the game sort of continues. But that's not an argument not to do it. It's just that Hao is not obliged to instantly resign. But, yeah, very, very strange miss by Fabi. Maybe he forgot, says Dodgy. Yeah, maybe he did.
All right, so Wang Hao still in business here. Yu Yang Yi, who's been tearing this tournament apart, is now facing the immovable object that is Wesley So. And this will be a tough position to win against Wesley.
Certainly, but I don't think Yu Yang Yi needs to win every single game in this tournament, and they are on a bit of a, you know...
Why don't you think he needs to
comfortable...
win this one?
Hmm?
Why do you not think he needs to win this one?
Well, needs is a bit strong, but I think he's perfectly happy just playing a very, very slightly better position with zero risk. And if he gets somewhere nice, if he doesn't get anywhere, it's a draw, and it's a perfectly fine result. And taking a bit of a breather before yesterday's grand final is not that stupid. Have you seen this a4, a5 idea?
Yeah, not sure about the exact position, though, like it all. Since I usually don't check these things move by move, it all blends in my mind. There was some Adams Lako games and so on, but yeah, how much can it be? Europe.
Yeah.
Facing the rest of the world that has not been doing great in this tournament. The top board is playing the one line to rule them all. This is another way to treat this position with black, which frankly I would have expected Nakamura to eventually embark upon. But he's tried other approaches here, like bishop takes c5. What Radjalov does is very, very solid. Knight d4 by MVL, and you get this typical quiz gambit accepted type of endgame where black has to be a little careful, but should be fine.
Yeah, it's somewhat more venomous than it appears at first glance, but somebody like Timur, who has, you know, very, very good sound positional understanding, and also probably looked at this, should be fine to handle this safely. An interesting position in Firouzja Aronian.
Alireza playing for the rest of the world on board 2 in this match, I'm guessing, against Levin.
That is not how I... Like, if you... You now have the notation on your screen, but without the notation, what's the immediate association you have with this structure? Like, what would you have guessed this structure is from?
Wiener, bishop b4, ed?
Yeah. ED French, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would bet good money it's ED French. And instead, it has been something else altogether. Like, something completely different.
Oh, they played this. Fun. The Dracula Frankenstein variation, which starts here. If black goes knight c6, knight b5, g6, queen f3.
Yeah,
f5.
I'm very, very upset. Left just decided not to do this.
It's
Yeah,
bad for black, unfortunately.
you actually checked, yeah?
Yeah, I get
Oh,
asked
okay.
this question every second opening clinic. I mean, it's a fun position, but it's better for white. So
okay.
here, yeah, g6 is playable, but then white is a tad better after queen e5. Bishop e7 is the sane way to handle this. Queen e5, castles, d4, knight c6. There are some games here like Caro-Kann, Giri, and so on, but usually black's doing fine. And Levon, of course, in e4, e5 territory, you won't catch him off guard with anything.
Yeah, extremely unlikely. And it's an interesting endgame because structurally, of course, black is doing quite well, but white has a very well-positioned pair of bishops in d3 and f4. And the knight on g3 actually is doing a very, very important job here of making sure that the bishop on d3 is not traded off. I'm wondering if white could be slightly better here, but probably not. f3, h4, rook f1, king f2. You can make a lot of kind of vaguely improving moves, but
Don't care. f6,
You
rook
still-
e8,
yeah, exactly,
exchange all the
yeah.
rooks. Like, good luck.
black
So,
is just too
black
solid.
can potentially be better, especially if a lot of rooks disappear. This could be a target, or we can go a5, b5 in the distant future. Of course, you're not better because white has the two bishops, but black, yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about. f3 played by Alireza, and our boy Anish Giri is being rested. That's a bitter disappointment. I am now rooting for the USA. I do not understand that decision, Garry Kasparov. Giri made a solid draw with the black pieces. What do? You take him out of the lineup as a reward? That's just wrong. I'm half kidding, of course. Jan Krzysztof has I am fully kidding actually. Jan Krzysztof has a better result in the tournament. And with the white pieces to beat Bassem Amin, I would, yeah, it's a very understandable bet to go with Duda and not Giri in the current situation.
This line, I covered a little bit in my 6d3 series, and I tried
On
playing
chess
with
24,
white pieces.
check it out. I
Yeah,
don't like this
and
d6 move, never did.
I think it's fine, but the thing that, like, I used to be kind of fond of this line, and then I kept on playing it against Yannick Gozoli in our Banter Blitz Cup match, and I kept on getting destroyed, and I no longer am so fond of it, because I have a feeling had I played something normal, I probably wouldn't have lost so many games with the white pieces in that match, and maybe then I would have progressed slightly further than the second round, but Jan Krzysztof's position here looks like it's about as good as you aim for in this line. Might be quite playable. In particular, if he somehow manages to, after I assume c6 gets played, you can't really tolerate the knight on d5 for too long. Then we take on f6, and if white could be in time to play something like knight d2 and f4, I'm pretty sure he would be much better. But here bishop takes h3 exists, so you have to pay attention.
Yeah, I never liked the structure for black with his dead d4 pawn. It's, of course, a somewhat simplistic view. Happens in many Spanish lines, but if I can avoid it, I like to avoid it.
Yeah, don't disagree. And also, if you want to play with the knight d4 ideas, I think it makes a lot of sense to just do it on move 8, which is what Yannick has been doing against me, when the knight is still on b1 and it has to go to much worse squares. Allowing that knight to cross the c3 square and get to d5 seems counterintuitive if you're planning to play knight d4 anyway.
Yep, so the dude slightly better against Bassem. On the women's board, Dinara Salvakasova for the rest of the world against Nana Zagnidze for Europe.
It seems like a dangerous position for black after king h1, because in order not to blunder on... Well, blunder is obviously in huge air quotes.
Bishop d6? Can you do that? I'm sure I looked at this in my polls
Shouldn't
and
be
days.
great. Shouldn't be great. Yeah, I don't recall that move, but I also don't think this is how you're supposed to be playing. Now after king h1, like, you're supposed to play king e7, I assume. But how sure you know? How sure are you rook takes f6 doesn't just
Yeah,
win?
the hand wants rook f6.
Yeah. I
hand
think
wants what the hand
actually
wants.
is correct, yeah.
The hand also
could
wants
also
e5 though, so
Yeah, and b4, all of these moves, like including b4. b4 more or less forces queen c6, and then we can take on f6. And I suspect it improves our situation slightly because the queen is on a light square now, harder to connect it. I think it might just be winning for white if you go king e7.
this looks horrible.
And if you king f1 is weird though. Why would you? Maybe Dinara correctly assumes that king will not go to e7, and in case of those endgames after, let's say, castles, queen takes d6, of course you want your king closer to the center. But I would still play king h1. It's just very difficult to.
Such an autopilot move, yeah. All right.
Might be a good idea though, because I think those pawn up endgames are quite likely here, and then it definitely makes sense.
So Europe in some trouble on the women's board potentially. On board 3, Jan Krzysztof looks a little better. Rough equality on boards 1 and 2.
And
the USA, Fabi finally took on h7 in a different position.
he keeps on being offered this. Yeah, all of this is very strange. Bishop d7 here. Maybe there is no better choice, but bishop h7 kind of wins yet again, right? What is Hao doing
decent.
here?
Well, maybe.
And f7 queen h5. Yeah, like it's just. This is game over.
27 is not horrible, but this is just resigns.
No. How is somehow just not at the races this game? It just feels like he's. Yeah, he's played king h8, but now we can go bishop f5 or bishop d3. Yeah. It's a healthy, important pawn on the king side.
Yeah, it's resigns.
Very, very strange.
Fabi keeps cruising.
From start to finish.
Just as impressive as Yu Yang in this tournament. I think they have equal points even. Fabiano Caruana destroying the field. And on board 1, Ding Liren, I was wrong, he's not getting the day off, is back in action for the Chinese squad facing Hikaru Nakamura.
And this is a structure you see, I want to say probably the most common opening to get this specific structure is the Scotch, but many e4, e5 openings will have some lines where this happens. White sometimes is slightly better in these positions, but normally black is kind of safe. f4 is an interesting choice, though. What's he's planning to do after bishop d4? He just takes bishop takes d4, yeah. But that should be very, very close to complete equality. Or maybe queen takes, yeah. Queen takes, no, there's queen d5 check in the end, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That explains quite a lot. Because otherwise, it would have been just a draw for pretty much if you didn't have that tactic. Of course, the knight could just go somewhere. You could play knight f7 or something. You could also maybe take on b5, fe5, and then.
Sorry, I zoomed out. Bishop b5, fe.
I guess fa, because otherwise you lose the pawn on f4, right?
Yeah.
And now maybe bishop c4 or something. Maybe this is fine for black.
It could be.
Still quite concrete, though. There are some queen a4 ideas or something. We'll wait for Hikaru to settle on something. And people, I've seen in chat that Irina Krush is doing really, really well against Zhou Wenjun. So that could be hugely relevant for the match, considering how well the Chinese women have done
that
so
line.
far.
Why play this line in the first place, Zhou Wenjun? It's such a risky line for black. Like h5, they've tried to make this work, but I don't think it works move by move, and it's also so strategically risky.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
now I assume you just play queen e2 and then e5 after knight c4. And you win the... Although, yeah, h4 here, I missed h4. So what's the best square then? If we don't go queen e2...
not sure. b3 looks a little.
Yeah, queen b3 maybe, yeah.
offside. Let's see, 4.
Oh, but then we need to calculate knight g2 on every
standing in
move now,
this. One question is, does Ding's presence in this match mean that China would prefer to face Europe in the finals, or is that thinking?
I don't know. I think they're just rotating in some way, I think, everybody is playing so solidly that it doesn't really change very much who plays. And like every time I want to even kind of raise the specter of this narrative that China is now kind of trying to manipulate who they play against in the finals, I remember the Dingler and Yuan World Cup semifinal, and I think it doesn't get bigger than that in terms of.
No, but that's a different situation. No, there. You don't have the choice to rest.
No, but what I mean is they do appear to just play chess and are very happy to just kind of accept where the die.
Yeah, no one's questioning that, but still, if you can choose sort of your finals opponent, they are bringing Ding back. But yeah, maybe I'm overthinking this. Anyway, you could also argue then, why aren't they playing Hu Yifan? Even though Zhou and Jun is not exactly a weakness on the women's board,
Yeah.
the reigning world champions.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yu Yang Yi, he's fianchettoed his knight against Wesley.
Yeah, that's a bit strange because it looks like we've made some moderate bit of progress by somewhat misplacing the Black Queen, but also that knight on b7. What is it doing there? I guess Yuengi's argument here is that it may not be doing much, but it's also completely safe. Black can't really attack it properly, and
We should
therefore
mention
why
before
not?
we get into that Fabiano Caruana already won his game against Wang Hao. Yeah, that was not Wang Hao's best day
No,
at the home office.
Hao did not play that game well, and it lasting 29 moves. 29 moves is frankly
Well,
a little bit.
resigning
of a
on move
surprise.
22 would not have been much of a stretch.
Oh, if Fabi takes on h7 on move 15, it might be even
Yeah,
shorter.
can
Yeah,
resign
but
there,
once
that's
again,
true.
let's not beat that horse completely into oblivion.
Hear
What's
that, Mr.
happening
Doji? You don't have to.
Yeah, Artemiev probably is just winning now against Vidyat, right? Because he is still a pawn up, and he is about to actually start a mating attack on the queen side by the look of things.
Yeah, but that match is so irrelevant for the outcome that I'll ignore it. Ding.
Yeah. And I think what Irina has done is now kind of justifying Juvenjun's previous play.
It's for d5. First of all, did she miss
D5.
knight d2?
No, I think she probably wants bishop takes f6 and then something. But I guess you can take with the queen now, yeah? You can just play this endgame now, which probably is just fine for black. Knight takes b3, knight goes to c5.
Yeah. Looks very
So black at least has this bailout. She probably doesn't have anything better.
h4, bishop f6 is pushing
Yeah,
it.
allowing that seems like you're pushing it a little bit. But you do have knight g2, bishop f6, queen f6, which I assume leads to some kind of equality.
We can take here.
Yeah, you could do that, but then after h4, knight f5, you don't have a comfortable reply.
Yeah. We'll see what Zhu when Zhu comes up. Funstuff is saying, from the home office, Jan. Are you correcting my he's having a bad day at the home office to he's having a bad day from the home office? I'm not sure, fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Live on our own, Jan. Yeah, stable. Steady.
Yeah.
Cthulhu is saying, and I get deleted for an innocuous statement. Did we delete Cthulhu? Oh, CP Counter
No.
is here. Welcome, CP Counter. Are you muting people for their mean jokes, CP Counter? What's happening?
Clearly that's exactly what's happening, and everything is As it should be in the Chess24 household. Now that the guardian of our peace is back with us.
Muting them for misogyny. I see. We don't want any monogamy in the chat, CP Cartert.
Exactement.
Jan Krzysztof still has all his knights.
Some such. Things are very much up in the air in the two relevant matches. Gennaro Sadovakasova is actually quite a bit better against Nana.
CP Carter saying, please leave sexism out of chat, please. Thank you. If not, what do we have to do? Sexism? What's going on there? Anyway, moving on. Dinara against Zagnitse.
Yeah, as expected, Black chose not to go King E7, and now the decision to go King F1 is actually completely vindicated by Gennaro. You actually do want the King on F1 and not on H1 in this position. Rook B4, and Black starts losing parts of her Queen side, I think. Rook takes G7 is also not horrible. I just now realized you can take this guy as well. Though, yeah, I missed Knight G6, but I missed everything about Rook takes G7. Rook B4, maybe Black can play Knight C4 and then B5. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's actually not that easy. What's the best way to actually pick up the B7 pawn? It's probably, can we go to the position right now?
Yeah, I'd rather
Rook
not.
E4, F6, Rook B6 probably is the way to go. And then we go Rook B4 next move. Rook E B4, I mean. That should pick up the pawn on B7, and if that pawn falls, White is halfway there. Leaving on a prayer.
Mr. Dodgy is saying, perform the sexorcism. How does it work? Can CP Counter actually mute Mr. Dodgy, or do mod privileges stop you from being muted? What's the power dynamics?
The modern mod violence is the... I don't know how to continue that sentence. I just...
Blobig's also paying close attention. He's saying, did I read Irina blew it? Mods, please. Yeah, mods, please block Blobix for that joke. Joking. Oh boy, this has gotten out of control. Good thing that we have two mods there. All right, so...
At least two mods.
The tournament situation is, if Europe wins, they play China in the finals. If Europe
draws and the US wins,
the US plays China.
Yep.
If Europe loses,
you assume the US
draws.
Just US drawing should be enough. Yep. What shall we look at? Let's take a gander at the current situation. Dinglieren is actually slightly better in that symmetrical position I was describing, but maybe not too much. Although, can we put that up for a second? Is Rook E6 not very, very unpleasant right now for Hikaru?
Tactics.
Yeah, I mean King H7, but I have a feeling King H7, Queen D3 check, and then Rook takes H6. Hikaru might be in a lot of trouble.
Ding does not miss such chances usually.
But I guess after Queen F5, Hikaru holds anyway. I remember I asked Hikaru. You probably remember that game as well because it was against Stanish in the Magnus Invitational. There was this endgame where Hikaru defended it very, very easily, but Anish did not really push anywhere near as hard as we expected him to. But in the post-game interview, I asked Hikaru if he thought he was at any point seriously worse, and he just said, no, I think this endgame is completely fine, and I was never in trouble. And this will look similar-ish, if in that position after King H7, White is forced to trade queens after Rook H6, Queen F5. So maybe Hikaru just feels this is not that problematic. Yeah, king h7 played. I wonder if there's anything even stronger for Ding here. He does have the option of winning the h6 pawn in 2 moves. But that's... Oh, hang on a second. There's queen g3 in the end there. That's going to be quite bad for black. Check. King g8, rook h6, queen f5, queen g3. That's going to be quite unpleasant.
This is just lost.
Yeah.
Unless you have some...
There's rook g6 in the
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
sadly for black. That doesn't quite work out.
All
Hikaru
right.
might be close to lost here. Yeah, all of this already played by Ding. He doesn't miss those small tactics very often. The US is currently leading due to Fabi's very quick victory, but if Ding strikes back, it's a big result in terms of who qualifies for the finals.
Yeah, rook h6 on the board, of course. Ding does not miss such stuff. This looks huge. Yu Yang-yi is he worse? We were talking about this earlier, but then there were more pressing games to be attended. Probably not worse, right? It's just such an odd sight that night.
Yeah, I'm still a bit confused as to why this is great for white, but maybe it's fine. Maybe you just
I think c5.
c5 and then cb and yeah, but actually bishop c6 and ab, and then we take on b7 twice, and we're up a pawn. It's
Hard to argue. Yep, maybe you needs to be precise here. Then again, he shouldn't get too nervous either. You got to chill. What's Hikaru, resourceful as ever, has spotted queen f1, queen f4. Nice. Well,
yeah, that
not a
is
great
very
position,
very smart
does
by
prolong
Hikaru.
the game.
Yeah, still a very unpleasant endgame he will have to defend after, let's say, rook g6 and king takes g3, but yeah, that's much stronger than anything else we've suggested.
Shachas is asking, when is the final? I guess tomorrow?
Yeah, the
Same
final is,
time?
I
we
assume
know?
tomorrow same time, yeah.
I don't actually know, but yeah.
I think that's a reasonably safe assumption.
Rook c1 played by Yu Yang-yi. That's probably a smart move, keeping the option to go cd5 if needed. Tomorrow 5 p.m. we're being told. That
That's
makes
actually
sense.
slightly later than
Yeah, it's 2 hours later.
today, yeah, because only one match needs to be played.
What happened in the Crush 2 and June game?
There was a moment there, yeah. E5 is actually very strong after queen d6. It's a very good decision. But then Irina actually spoiled her own brilliant idea by not playing knight e4 here. Knight e4, queen c2, queen d4 is... I briefly cheated there while I was looking through the games. Yeah, it's just impossible to stop knight d6, and the black position becomes very, very critical. But you have to see queen d4 specifically. I don't think it's fair to blame anybody for not playing knight e4, because my first reaction was, why is the computer suggesting this? Queen c2 just solves every problem, but it doesn't. And now after knight h5, obviously the threat is e5, e6, but black can play rook e6, for instance, probably queen c3 as well. But queen c3, queen f2 might be awkward. Rook e6 seems fine though. And that's what she does. And you can
Three
start
moves.
seeing an outline for how black could be just completely fine. Rook c8, maybe even g6 at an opportune moment.
Yeah, these positions can turn quickly. You can just be worse with white.
Sure, you actually need to continue playing sharply for some initiative on the king side. Otherwise, the e5 pawn is basically gone once the endgame starts.
Looks like... What does it look like? Nakamura fighting for a draw. Looks like Wesley So will have to win, no, for the US to have a realistic shot. Because it's quite likely Crush could get in trouble here. And, well, Nakamura might or might not hold.
Yeah, Hikaru is not winning this position. We know that much. He is very very resilient and will not get bored just shuffling back and forth for the next.
What's going on here? You just played c5 after bishop b7. Does he want to go cb? Does that work?
It might.
Could work, no? Could
It
work.
might, yeah. Bishop a6, rook c7, and the back rank is very weak, but I don't see how to exploit it because rook takes c8 is a check. Yeah, could work out. Obviously, bishop b7 is not forced, but yeah, this is interesting. No, I think black just plays queen b8 in that position, and is still arguably slightly better because the white, the white pieces are hanging slightly more than the black pieces are. If we continue that line, but yeah, suddenly a very, very sharp position. Looked very quiet for a while, but isn't quiet anymore. Bishop b7, bishop 8. No, AB we're always fine. I think we were going c takes b6 and.
Yeah. Let's see what Wesley does, but if he doesn't go, well, he will go bishop b7. No?
Well, nothing else really seems to fit the bill. Yeah, you can go something like queen d7, but then white could. CB. What do you even recapture with?
Yeah.
AB looks kind of risky, and yeah, otherwise the knight comes out. So it does appear as if you're semi-forced into
We're getting conflicting information here. We're hearing now the super final might be at 16:00 Central European Standard Time, so 1 hour later than the usual. Crush.
Yeah, I like queen e2.
Queen
You
2
need
looks
this
good.
queen.
Looking
Yeah.
for play.
Yeah, you need the queen around f3, g4 squares, creating threats with every move. You cannot play quietly here. Seems like a good move.
So there is still a path to victory if
Absolutely.
Crush draws
Absolutely.
and Wesley draws as well. Nakamura does not have to lose this.
That's an interesting decision by him, though. Playing a3 because white has rook a5, but I assume is intending to do something like rook e7, e2 in reply, just generating active counterplay instead of passing forever. I quite like this because if you imagine him replying to b4 with taking en passant,
I'll be back in 1 minute. Sorry.
Sure. So if we go back to this position, and if we imagine black takes, goes, I don't know, let's say b6, white goes b4, it wouldn't be easy for white to convert, but also white would never, for the rest of the game, have any weaknesses for black to even contemplate playing against. And white could slowly start improving, playing something like, I don't know, h4, king h3. That doesn't feel right. h4, maybe h4, h5, king h4. This ball, then the rook goes somewhere and you passes. Whereas after a3, which is what Hikaru chose, now there is a weakness on a2. It's not easy to get to it, but it is there at least. And as mentioned, if you go rook a5 here, black has rook e7. You don't really want to allow rook e2, but if you play king f2, black goes rook f7 check, and you are kind of back to square one. in terms of how to avoid that rook becoming active. Maybe you can go king g1, rook e7, rook a3, rook e2, and here you do have the option of playing something like g4. But black, of course, will generate quite a bit of counterplay in positions like this. Very much like what Hikaru is doing here. I think this is a lot better than hoping to defend this this endgame passively. And Ding is still in the tank after before a3, which is already, I think, for Hikaru, an indication that he made a very good practical decision. In the meantime, this game between Yuan Gi and Wesley So did reach a similar position to what I expected. I assumed black would take on b7 instantly, but instead Wesley included rook e4. I don't quite know why that is, because to my eyes, somewhat weakening the back rank here is not that great for black. I don't quite know how this will be better for Wesley compared to having the same position with the queen on f4 and the rook on e8. He still, I guess, has some reasonably quiet options, but for instance, you can play something like queen d8 here. I suspect white cannot really continue, you know, the adventure mode with ba or b7. I think you have to take on a6, and then black can give this check and just pick up the pawn back, and black is fine. But I really thought you could do this. You could play like this, bishop a6, rook c7, and I thought queen b8 in particular, because ba7, queen b6, I couldn't quite make work for white. And if that is true, then you would have to take on a6. Black takes on b6 with the queen. Bishop probably goes all the way back to e1, f1, sorry. And yeah, this position, I definitely prefer this position with the black pieces. Hi, Nelly.
Was ist das? Einhornkostüm?
Nee, das ist kein Einhornkostüm.
So, ne?
I guess queen e8 is the explanation for the previous play.
Basis habe.
Das sind Baller und so?
Because now you can try rook e1 check,
Ja,
and something like this would be a
das
threat.
ist mein
I don't know if it works immediately though.
Ich verstecke mich.
Nee, nicht in Oh boy.
Wenn man hier runter ist, wird man eingespannt.
Here we go again. Gespenst. Ich war ein Gespenst.
Das war nur ich.
Ich dachte, du bist ein Gespenst.
Nee, das war nur ich.
Ach so. Okay.
Ich hab mich.
Ich muss noch ein bisschen Englisch reden, denn die Leute verstehen mich sonst nicht. No. There's a ghost.
That is very much to be preferred to having 18-year-old boys.
Geh weg, Gespenst.
Das war doch nur ich.
Ich weiß nicht, ich höre nur ein Gespenst dahinter vor. Ach, du bist das.
Ja, ich war nur ich. Ich habe mich mal einmal ein geheimes Versteck gefunden und dann habe ich Darf ich das nochmal?
Alright, sorry, I have to go ghost hunting for a little. I'm sure Peter.
Sure, I still have the wheel. I just shut up because there was a very understandable request for me to shut up, which I fully endorsed.
1 second.
Because we needed to hear that conversation. But
I'll mute myself and find that ghost. Be right back. Oh, the ghost is leaving. Tschüss, Gespenst. We're safe again. Oof, that was scary.
no,
So-
you weren't mean. You weren't mean at all, Hobvis. And I was planning to shut up myself because I know what takes center stage when. Wesley is. I think Wesley's attempt is a genuine attempt to to maybe win by force, but I suspect white stabilizes. And I really did like the same position with the queen on b6 slightly better.
So who's winning and why? What are
I think nobody is
them
winning here
scores?
after queen d3. I think white probably is in time to play something like g3, king g2, and never really be in any serious trouble. Black has to worry about his own back rank issues, so yeah. And in the meantime, this match is not very relevant, but the final position of the Artemiev Vidit game is kind of spectacular, so we could just bring that up for a second and never look at it again.
Wow. Poor Vidit, not his tournament. And
Not
a fitting
his tournament
finale.
at all, but yeah, that's quite spectacular for a final position of a Grandmaster game. Yeah, got a little bit wrecked there. So what's happening in the US match? Hikaru, I assume, is now favored to hold, even though it's still not a lock. I think Ding's choice is quite sensible, giving up on g2 but picking up the a pawn and activating his king, and he will now actually be trying to make some progress on the queen side. I think the Wesley game is extremely likely to end in a draw. Black is probably slightly better, but I really don't believe it's much. Irina is doing fine so far, but as we've spoken, I fully agree with what Jan was saying. The longer this game goes on without anything forcing happening, the better you like Black's chances, because eventually this might become an endgame, and every single endgame here will be quite favorable for Black.
Yeah, this could be a key game for the US's chances to make it.
Very much so, yeah. And we have to remember that Fabi won in about 10 minutes flat, so the US is currently 1-up. And in the Europe match, I think Alireza has made good progress. I don't know if he's actually much better or not, but he's made tremendous progress in his game against Lev.
For sure, yeah. If the knight goes back, bishop d3 looks nasty.
And the knight has gone back, because I guess Lev just didn't have any choice.
What else, yeah?
And now bishop d3, yeah, you're really not enjoying life here as Black. Bishop d3, rook e6. Hang on, the rook is protected on e6. I was about to say knight h5 check wins on the spot, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But something like rook g1 might actually be winning on the spot, right?
Looks horrible.
Or knight e2 f4 or something. Yeah, it just feels like this position is very, very ripe for a complete collapse. Rook g1 does look very strong. Rook g1 with the intention of playing knight h5 check.
Yeah,
looks
Alireza, pretty unforgiving young man in such situations too. He can just calculate his way home here.
Yeah,
Rook
he's
G1
down to
played
only
here.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But shouldn't matter a great deal. And yeah, continues to impress me just how seemingly effortlessly he outplays people who have been doing this for a lot longer and are, sort of genuine top class players. I'd be,
Well, yeah, didn't have the grace of tournaments, but maybe that Kayakin victory, the last round, gave him wings, and he's about to score another one here, which would be bad news for Team Europe's chances.
Team Europe would not like that, because what else is going on? I think Karakin already. Oh no, Karakin is a different match. Sorry. Karakin did draw, but it's really irrelevant. MVL drew against Rajabov in our one allowed opening.
Yep.
Duda Basim is about equal. Zagnidze Sadvakasova is also now seemingly around equal. Black somehow got out of the corner. Shouldn't have been allowed to get out of the corner there. That's actually very instructive. I shouldn't cheat this much, but with so much action going on, I feel like I'm slightly allowed to. If we can bring up Dinara's game for a second. On move 27. Yeah, rook d8 here. she played knight c7 check, which looks very logical, but it does allow black to run with the king towards the g6 square. She could have instead played rook e7 check, king f8, rook b7. Just saying, no castling for you today, Nana. And that position is quite unpleasant for black, arguably just bad, because of how weak that king is. And that's a very nice teachable moment there. King safety is a lot more important in positions like this than picking up maybe even both the a pawns. Because, I mean, she clearly thought she will play knight a6, knight c5, create a threat of knight e6 here. But Nana played rook h8, and now the black pieces start generating their own counterplay, and already this looks like...
looks fine for black,
yeah. Worst is over for black, just because how active the rooks are. Rook g3, king f5 is never really a threat. The king is very safe on f5, so I thought it was interesting just to show that one little moment. She was playing very, very well up to that point in our... Young Krzysztof maybe is a little bit better now, though. We haven't looked at that game for a while. We just take on d6, take on c6, and claim that our structure is healthier, and there's a weakness on c6 we can try to exploit. The knight on e2 is very far away from where it should be, though, right? Maybe it's not much. Maybe I'm overselling the point here.
Yeah, it looks fine for black to me. Or fine is strong, but...
Yeah, I thought I could put a lot of pressure on the c6 pawn, but bishop g7 just solves those problems. If that second knight was somewhere around c5 already, like if it was on b3 and not on e2, I would definitely be very much of the opinion that white is better, but it's not. So we assume Alireza is just winning by force, and he is now just breaking through. Seems like Lev will have to resign very soon. That means Europe goes one down. MVL drew. Dinara is now extremely unlikely to win against Nana. Duda needs to win, basically.
Well,
Duda needs to win.
Can Nana
Duda
win
needs
now,
to win.
likely? No.
Yeah, that is just completely safe for black. Also for white, but...
Well, Nana's playing for Europe.
yeah, sorry, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Nana is not winning.
No,
After 93,
not winning.
Yeah, it feels like it. Best case scenario for black, it ends up as being 4 against 3. Maybe even in most cases it will end up being 4 against 3, but that's just a draw. And yeah, that would mean that Duda somehow needs to win this game against Bassem for Europe to draw, which would then require the US to beat China. Which is not at all impossible. The US currently is 1 up. But it's not a given.
Yeah. The US still seem to be in good shape. Let's have a look at their positions.
Hikaru liquidated into this. Is this
2 down, but...
Yeah, that's an interesting choice for Hikaru, because he draws if the last remaining pawn is the a pawn and the bishop, it's a draw. But it looks like it's a lot likelier that it will be the h pawn, and
looks
then it's
completely
not a
lost to me, frankly.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. How did they get here?
Yeah, this looks over.
Because it looks like he went for this by basically he forced this endgame. He just embarked on some kind of a forced operation here, which resulted in this endgame appearing on the board. It's very confusing.
But it should be lost up with the king on b6 and then bishop c6 as a6.
Yeah, with the king on c8, you can sort of see how this might end up being a draw. But yeah, king c5, king b6. The bishop has to go to a poor square, and then we push c5, c6, and yeah, don't know how he intends to hold this. Maybe he sees something we don't, but yeah, my initial reaction would also be this is not drawable anymore.
Is Wesley generating something here?
Well, he is definitely pushing, and it's awkward for Yuangi.
Looks
Would
like
be quite a
he's now-
turnaround if Yuangi were to lose this game, considering how dominant he has been up until that point. Yeah, b3, even queen a2 check, and then we just, I mean, if we want, we can pick up the h-pawn. We probably won't, because what else are we doing? The rook will have to go to like h4 or h5, but it's not that bad.
Seems like Yu Yang-Yi is not a Wesley crusher, and he's in trouble here.
Yeah, he definitely is. That would obviously be huge news for the US, because if Wesley wins, they only need one draw out of the Hikaru game and the Crush game. We haven't looked at the the Crush Juvenjun game in a while, but Irina has been holding quite well until then.
Where is it? Is that over?
Shouldn't have been, is it?
I don't know. Couldn't
No,
see
it's
it.
they drew.
Yep. It's probably
That's-
good news for the
Yeah,
US.
that's very good news for the US here, considering how the positions look. They now need 1 out of 2 on the Hikaru and Wesley board to, I think, more or less ensure they qualify for the finals. That's maybe a bit strong, but Europe is in a lot of trouble, right?
No, don't know. They need the dude to win, and Zagnitsa to make a draw. And then, yeah, Zagnitsa has made a draw. So yeah, Europe can only get a 2-2. So if the US wins, they're in.
Yeah, but if we assume our assessment of the opposite color bishop ending is correct, Wesley actually needs to win. Draw is not enough on that board. He is favored. He has a very pleasant position, but it's not a very easy conversion. Yeah, queen e3, queen a1. Maybe it improved for him, because now the queen has penetrated to the back rank. Yeah, queen g1 check threats are just
Also,
very,
Wesley needs to
very
win
strong.
in case Duda wins his game, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not a given.
But actually, I think Wesley is now a huge favorite to win, because queen g3, sorry, king g3, rook e1, for instance, looks like a painful move. Maybe queen d2 is not bad. I thought that was almost crushing, but queen d2 still somehow keeps the shape together for white. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Duda is now
Does it?
king h3, I thought. How are you mating that king? Ah, rook e2, clever. Did not see that.
Dangerous.
That probably is just game over, right? Because there are no good squares at all.
Feels like you don't have enough counterplay now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a crushing move. Yeah, very nice.
Queen c3 played by
Queen
Yu
c3
Yang-Yi.
played. That's no, but then queen c1. That by this point it looks like it should just collapse. Yeah, queen c1. We don't
Check.
even need knight h5. Maybe it's even
Oh,
stronger.
right,
Yeah.
check.
Yeah, king f2, queen c1, and or even rook f1 check first. Yeah, looks completely lost now. And that victory just settles it, right? If Wesley wins, nothing else is relevant. They have 2.5 points in their match, and they will overtake Europe, even if Europe manages to draw theirs.
Yup. Wesley, no pressure.
Yeah, but still, like, it's a in terms of who writes their scripts and so on. Yu Yang-Yi, who has been an absolute dominant force in this event, going for the symmetrical rook e1 anti-Berlin, and still somehow finding a way to lose, is not how you would expect this final round to play out.
I don't know. China has nothing to play for. They're already in the finals with draw odds, so we shall forgive you.
No, of course, yeah. I'm not implying any untoward happenings. It's just that
Me
he's
neither.
been so solid and so good in this tournament. Yeah,
Unlikely
Wesley just
that-
gives mate now. Yeah, very nicely played by Wesley from that weird knight expedition to the b7 square. Wesley actually saw his chance and seized it with both hands. Yeah, queen d2 and knight f4 in this position. Game over. Very nicely done, and yeah, that just qualifies Team US for the finals.
Wow. And the one saving grace for Europe is, even if they had played Anish, it would not have changed.
Yeah, queen a1, queen a5 is actually mate in 2 in that position. I wonder what Wesley will choose. Rook e3 is just so completely winning, but there is a mate in 2 with checks there.
Game is over.
Yeah. And Andich says, mate in 2, brah. Exactly.
Nah, he went for the queen. There you go.
Queen a1, queen a5 would have been 2 really picturesque mates on the board in the final round. Sort of to rival their Artemiev mate in the video game. But yeah, rook e3, not a mistake. I understand it's a move which will be harshly criticized by engines, but...
No, but it forces resignation. Well, after queen
Yeah,
a1,
exactly,
you probably play king b4.
Yeah, like
So it's
a move
good choice.
that forces the game to end is never ever a mistake. Really. And Hikaru might be. I've been thinking maybe Hikaru is fine. Somewhat strangely, because he did get the king. He did get the king to c8, and how?
Oh,
are we
he
making-
managed. Maybe we just can't count.
Yeah, I think it may have been our complete inability to count that did us in here. I think it might hinge on. Yeah, no, this I think is a draw because you take with the b pawn and then you go c5, right? a6. Oh no, how is that a draw? What am I saying? How is he drawing after? No, here I think this might be a draw. No, maybe even this is not a draw. I'm losing my mind here. Why? But also what Ding has done probably also wins. I assume, or not.
What did Ding do? He just went for a6 and kept the c.
Yeah, he got this position, which also looks attractive. Pushing it.
Looks more attractive because you're never in danger of ending up with the wrong a pawn. But now you just push c7, bring your king to the king side.
C and
Distance
H
4.
is.
These pawns are more than 4 files away from each other.
Yes.
You have the right h pawn. This is winning.
C and H is clearly winning, so not really a problem for Ding anymore. But it also
That
doesn't matter.
matters. Yeah.
It also
USA
doesn't matter at all.
winning their match against China, and Europe not winning against the rest of the world. That's to me the biggest surprise, because the rest of the world really seemed outmatched in most of the tournament. Well, Europe obviously fighting for the finals here. So, yeah, credit to Ali Reza, who scored a big point there against Levon Aronian. That means tomorrow we get this same matchup, China-USA. But China will have a lot more to play for, and also draw odds in a case of a 2-2. Will be China who wins. I'm curious if they will tinker with the lineup. Wang Hao did not look impressive against Caruana today, so you could see them bringing in Wei Yi. You probably don't take out Yu Yang Yi, who's been destroying in this event. Ding Liren you don't take out either. We'll see. On the women's board, of course, you can't really go wrong with either Zhou Wenjun or Hou Yifan, who currently the stronger is. I do not know. I'm assuming Hou Yifan, of course, by FIDE rating and status is still a little higher, but she hasn't played that much chess recently. Well, I guess Zhou Wenjun has had more practice. I don't know. Not my call. Some decisions to be made there for the Chinese team captain. For the US, what options do they have? They could bring in Lenier Dominguez, but I think they will play the same lineup actually. Arena Crush has played better than Zatonsky in this tournament. And I think Nakamura Caruana, so is their A-team.
Yeah, it does. It does feel very logical to just stick with this lineup. That does seem like a rotation shouldn't be much of a consideration for
finals.
For the finals.
So
Yes.
winning, not
So you
rotating.
just pick what the optimal lineup is, and it seemed a bit weird that they didn't give Van Hauer as much time to play as maybe I would have, but
Well, today he didn't really beg for more playing time.
his performance today does suggest that maybe they knew something. And JB Scott's saying the Nakamura endgame must have been drawn around move 60, but that's just because the engine on the website it has slight problems with these endgames. It really isn't. Once a6, b6, king a6 happens, it's completely lost. And hi John is what I wanted to say there.
All right, so this is it. I see a tweet from Vidit. Vidit is saying, I don't recall the last time I played this poorly. Something was just completely off. Apologies to everyone who was rooting for me and the team. Poor Vidit. Vidit and Adibania did not have a great event for India. Who never came close.
Adiban somehow ended up losing a completely winning position against Andreikin in the final round. Yeah, both of them played well below their actual strength. Both of them are very talented young players. Should never score as poorly as they have. Adiban ending on half out of 5 and Vidit on 2 out of 8. Yeah, that's not where they should be.
Where should we be? We should be back tomorrow. I think an hour later is the current consensus than today. So 4 p.m. Central European Standard Time with the Finale Grande in Alemania. We'll see if we can bring in some guests for the finale. I've seen many requests for Lawrence Trent to join us. I shall see what we can do, but I can't promise anything. In the meantime, you guys should, of course, visit our friends at Chessable, not only for the excellent course by Jan Gustafsson on e4, e5, but they also have this new Magnus Carlsen thing about being good at chess, so you might want to pay that a visit. Magnus, I'm not quite sure how he does it, but he knows some stuff that the rest of us do not. So it's going to be a very interesting course. I have not seen it myself, but I'll certainly check it out. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everyone on Twitch and on Chess24 for keeping us company. As always, special thanks to the Chess24 Premium members for, keeping the lights burning, allowing us to do all these things, also helping us to stage tournaments like the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. It's much appreciated. We will be back tomorrow with questions such as, is the USA or China going to win? Is the Mr. Doci Invitational going to happen? Is the Magnus Carlsen course good? Is Peter Svidler 8-time Russian champion or 9-time? How old is Maxim Vachier-Lagrave? All of that on tomorrow's show.
We shall remember not to miss any of the questions on that list, because people have the right to know.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
What does it take to be the greatest, the highest chess rating ever achieved, the longest unbeaten streak in the history of chess? The Magnus Touch. Get a free lesson from world champion Magnus Carlsen with Chessable's interactive move trainer at chessable.com/Magnus.